Welcome to the Vintage Ballers Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Carino, and on today's episode, we have Chance Sutton joining the show. Chance is a gaming and YouTube star who is a part of Team 10 and is known as one of the original social media influencers. So without further ado, please welcome Chance Sutton. Matthew was showing me on social media all these like fan pages of yours. I saw a few of them before, but I was laughing because there's people who are like, dude, they're obsessed with you. I mean, like, and we'll talk about it a little bit in the podcast, but you know, it's just fun. I knew how big you were. I mean, obviously I've known that for 4 years now, but I just didn't realize to the extent of how many people Chance like. I mean, there's a lot of people.
I honestly, I still don't. It's interesting. It's like, it's more so, I see it more in person now than anything. Like, whenever if I go to the mall or just wherever out and about, it'll be like anyone that's like 10 to like 14 around that age. Like usually like you'll start seeing eyes, like just like to the side, like you'll just see people looking at you as you're walking around. Or if you go out to like eat at a restaurant in like an outdoor mall type area with a bunch of shops and restaurants, you know, walking around, when we're out at like a restaurant, we'll start to notice people kind of noticing, I guess.
It's funny because like I must have been like 3 or 4 years ago, you came in to visit and you were at my sister's house. And obviously we took pictures and you gave a shout out to one of my friend's daughters who was obsessed with you. And it's funny for anybody who's listening to this, like this is gonna listen to this list. It was probably 2017, Chance. So you had just moved out to LA within, it wasn't very long before that, I believe. So,
yeah, I think I'd been out there for like a year.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So, so I'm at my friend's house and he has a daughter. At that time she was like 12. And so she's like talking, I mentioned your name, I was like, oh yeah, my cousin Chance is out in LA. And she's like, what's his name? And I'm like, Chance Sutton. And she's like, are you serious? She shows me her phone. You're the background. You and Anthony are the background.
That's crazy.
And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, she's like, Chance? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, my uncle, that's his dad. I'm like, I've known Chance. Like she could not believe it, Chance. So she was like,
yeah, that's her little, like that. That's crazy that's her phone background.
That was
like,
her phone background.
That's insane. That's insane.
Chance, that's when I first realized, like, shit, man, he is like that's big time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because she had no idea I knew you. So
she had no idea exactly.
No clue.
No, yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to take it back to when you grew up and kind of start off. Obviously, you grew up in Cleveland. You grew up in Westlake. What was your experience like growing up in Cleveland, and how did you get into gaming and everything else you got into?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I was in the age where kids nowadays, like they all have phones. They all have, they're already all gaming and on their phones by like 5, 6, 7, whatever. You see little babies with iPads. I feel like I didn't have any of that growing up. We kind of just played outside, like literally until I think 12 or 13. Which is 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, right before high school is when we started getting phones. And even then social media wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't even a thought in my mind. In high school, Twitter was a thing. We all made Twitters, but it kind of died out. It wasn't as big as I remember AOL and AIM was pretty big.
Yeah.
But Twitter had just became a thing. We all made Twitters and I would like tweet like going to the rec. But that's all I would ever tweet. And I just didn't really I didn't like it. I didn't know what to do. And then Instagram became a thing. But Instagram was kind of like a popularity contest, pretty much. Like the hottest girls, the coolest dudes, like they just had all of that was the only one really anyone followed. So I wasn't really intrigued on that either. And then Vine came out and my buddy Jake started Vining a lot. We actually all made Vines at the same time. And that just he kind of started spiraling and he saw the vision there with that. And he started doing Vines to get followers. And we didn't really think anything long-term. Like we just knew like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like, yeah, you're getting a lot of followers. He's like, yeah, it's fun. Like he just genuinely enjoyed doing it. Whereas me and Anthony thought it was cool, but our focus was more so on like basketball and girls. Like who are we hanging? Like what girls can we hang out with? Like, let's go to the rec, play basketball. Like, let's go work out. Like we were like, yeah, this is cool. But like, we didn't really, I didn't think long-term at all about it or just see like what the potential could have been. Cause there was just nothing like that at the time. There were no influencers. There were no anything like that, like nowadays, there's been studies done and just like reports of, if you go and ask like middle school kids, what they want to be when they grow up. Like I know a year ago, they did it a year or two ago, and it was overwhelmingly they wanted to be YouTubers over like professional sports players, and it's always been pro sports players. You know, like any kid, like tell me you didn't want to be a pro sports player.
We all want to be Jordan. Yep.
Yeah, like we wanted to, just playing in your basketball in your driveway, just picturing like, oh man, if I could be pro, like thinking I could do it, like, and you start playing and you realize I'm probably not going pro, but yeah, I mean, what got Anthony and I into social media, we realized a couple years after that, so like a year after high school, this is like 3 years down the line from when Vine even became a thing. Our buddy Jake was out in LA doing this whole like Team 10 thing with a bunch of kids, whatever. We just knew our friend was out in LA doing stuff with a bunch of kids, like videos and stuff, and it was all working. But what we really noticed is, I don't even know if this is on your question anymore. Like I'm just kind of going in.
Keep going. I love it.
Yeah. But this is like how we got started, I guess. How we got into the whole like start of everything, I suppose. Little sidetrack, but whatever. Basically, we looked at it objectively. He was doing YouTube videos. We really didn't even know we knew what YouTube was, but no one was really vlogging. Like we didn't study trends. We didn't follow along YouTubers. We weren't in the space how we are now. Like I could tell you like who's doing what on Twitch, what's popular on YouTube, what the trends are. I could like I'm just in it now and I pay attention. Back then we didn't know any of that. But what we did know was that Jake was killing it. And everyone he was around was killing it. So like anyone he brought in, their channels just exponentially blew up. And we saw that and we were like, yo, like, whoa, like it's that easy. But how? Like, what is it what are these kids doing that's making them blow up? And we just kind of looked at all the people around him and what they brought to the table and what they were doing that increased the success for their channels. And we noticed that we were big gamers. We were always gamers just because there was nothing. I mean, just play Call of Duty with your friends. Like that's like, what else are you going to do in high school? Like you just play COD, just mess around after school, And so we had just stuck with that. And we realized there's a website called Twitch where it was YouTube, but for live gaming. And we saw that no one in Team 10 or around Jake were gamers. They were all like dancers, models, like, whatever. None of them were gamers. They was too nerdy. Right. And so we're like, yo, this is perfect. Like we're not funnier, but like we know Jake. So like just that connection and that chemistry is stronger. We're funny and we bring a niche that no one else in the group brings. So it's not like we're trying to do something someone else is already doing. We're in our own lane that we can contribute to the team. And I literally just called him. And I was like, yo, I hadn't talked to him for like 2 years too, right? It had been a while since I talked to him. I'm like, yo, dude, we started gaming. Like, let's do this, bro. We could be on Team 10. And he was just kind of laughed and was like, I mean, all right, I'm down. It's like, what do you need? And then it just kind of started from there.
So Chance, take us back. So, okay, with obviously you grew up with Jake and Logan Paul, and they're huge now. I mean, they're fighting, and we'll get into that in a second too. But how did you first meet Jake? Like, when did you first meet him, and how did you get that friendship?
So, I first met him in first grade. It's 6-7 years old. We didn't become friends though until we were freshmen in high school, the second half of freshman in high school. So that's 14.
Yep.
So I knew him for a good 8 years and we weren't really friends. We weren't like enemies, but we just had different friend groups. Neither of our friend groups really meshed. We all played sports, but like his friend group was more the football, wrestling sports. And my friend group was more like just the basketball team. And yeah, I mean, it would be like if we saw each other outside, we wouldn't even really say hi to each other. We'd just kind of like maybe nod, like, or not even but it wasn't bad. It wasn't negative. And then we had a study hall the second half of freshman year. It was in a library. And I just remember he was sitting down alone at a table. I knew no one else in the class. And so I knew him and I was just like, whatever, I'll go sit with him. Sat next to him. It was crazy. It was like by the end of the first study hall, it was like instantly friends, like clicked, like just like so much synergy and just similarities. And yeah, we were like, whoa, like, yo, we were kind of just looking at each other like, whoa, like, are we friends? Did we just become best friends? Like, I guess. And that's kind of how it happened, honestly.
And did you know Logan at all at that point? I know he was older than you guys.
No, I didn't, honestly. I just knew that it was Jake's older brother. He played
Yep.
sports. He wasn't a senior. That he wasn't like he became really good at like one of like the more known like varsity players, like the varsity stars of your school or whatever, kind of known by like the underclassmen. He became that later on, but at the time, I didn't really know. I just knew of him. I was kind of scared of him, like all the other classmen. They would mess with me too. They knew me, and they would just mess with me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just pick on you and study hall as you're walking around. Yeah. So I was always like ducking from all of them, like just kind of looking around. Like, yo, don't embarrass me, bro, please.
Yeah, because I always wonder. I remember even back. I think it was in high school. You took Jake over. I think Anthony over to Grandma Carino's house. So
yeah.
And I remember that back in high school. And this is
the 4th of July.
All you guys were, way before you guys were famous. But yeah, 4th of July, exactly. So I remember all those times, and it's funny because like looking back at it now, and all you guys, Anthony, I mean the whole crew, made it really. I know you have you still have some friends here back in Cleveland too. But at the time, it's like, did you guys have any idea, so you're talking about Jake doing those vines, and I think Logan started that too, correct?
Yeah. Him and Logan were doing it at the same time. Honestly, they went so hard into it before even realizing what it could be, because they were kind of just competing with each other.
Really?
Straight up. Like they were like, Jake started doing it and then Logan started doing it. And then they were both kind of like then Jake had to go a little harder. Then Logan had to go a little harder. And it kind of just like, they were just going at each other. Like that's legit why it started going so crazy for them, because they were just trying to one up each other. And it just kind of turned into what it did.
And the funny thing is, Chance, Vines isn't even a thing anymore. I mean, that was
fully died out.
Yeah.
I mean, TikTok is the new Vine, and they did it right. TikTok's insane. Holy shit.
It's funny because my little nephews are always telling me, you got to get on TikTok. I don't have one yet. I got to get one. But
yeah. It's insane. You can just the potential there is so much higher than any other social media app right now, I think.
Why do you think that is?
Their algorithms are really good. It's just hot right now. Like there's so many more people on TikTok than on like so many kids just on their phone. It's so convenient. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to watch Twitch or a YouTube video, like if we're sitting around, if me, you, Anthony, Nick, and a bunch of like 6 or 7 of us are sitting around, even just like, even bring it back even less than that. If just 3 or 4 of you guys are sitting at home in your living room, you're not just going to pull out your phone and start watching a YouTube video. It takes too much concentration and focus. Like, and you have to listen and turn it up, right? Like if they start talking, like, are you going to pause the video to talk to them, or are you going to keep listening to the video and not talk to them? Whereas TikTok, you could just be in the middle of talking to someone, just keep scrolling. It's so much more just casual, I would say, and convenient. You can watch it anywhere. You don't really have to pay that much attention. They're quick. And yeah, I just think kids are always on their phones, and it's so much easier to be on TikTok when you're hanging out with people than anything else.
And with social media in general, what other platforms do you see blowing up in the next like 5 years? Is there any other platforms coming out or ones you already use that you see blowing up?
Right now I just use Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I mean, and TikTok. I watch some TikToks. It's hard to say like what will blow up, but I think what has blown up kind of set the standard for what it is. We have the short videos on TikTok. We have the published edited videos on YouTube. We have the live streaming gaming on Twitch. We have Twitter, which is kind of shit posts and like your opinion and just whatever. Instagram, which is like, it's like the new Facebook. It's like a lot of people take their Instagram really seriously. It's like how they look to the world. You know, they only post the best photos and stuff like that. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I don't think all those names will be the same. I think someone might come and overpass one of the others. I'm not sure which that is or what that is, but I know new apps and new stuff will come. I just think it'll be based off of what we already have. I don't really know how else you could. I mean, this is so, I could be totally wrong, but I just don't know like what else you could make. You know, there's apps that try to combine the best of like it's Instagram and Twitter.
Yep.
So it might be a mix of some of them, but yeah, I think what we have is
there's only so much you can do. You're right. There's
yeah.
Videos, probably. Yeah. And I grew up in the age, because I'm a generation, above you. So we grew up, like, when I grew up, Nintendo, PlayStation, all that stuff was coming out back in the late 80s and 90s. So that was like cutting edge at the time. And then we had AIM, like you mentioned
Yeah.
before, right? That was, for my generation, high school and college, we were all on AIM. That's all we did.
Yeah.
That was like our Instagram, really. And our, we would talk to each other on there, and it was kind of funny. And of course, that was back when we were in college. So we were, God knows the shit we were posting. But
yeah.
So and then like MySpace came out, Facebook, and that kind of like, and people forget about MySpace. It had a big influence on
it did. It did.
Really did.
I actually, that's crazy. I totally forgot to mention those when I was telling my story. That's wild. Yeah, MySpace, I think I made one. I was a little too young. I was like, I would say I was 9 or 10 when I had a MySpace.
Yeah.
But then when Facebook came out, oh my God, like that took over. I remember 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I was on Facebook for like 5, like every day, all day.
And it
just
still
took over.
I know in your generation, it's not as big anymore, but in my generation, it's still pretty big. There's a lot.
Yeah, I know for adults, it's,
it's definitely a platform. It's one of those few platforms I think that adults feel, because a lot of the adults don't understand the TikToks and all that. They don't, a lot of
they don't get
the
memes. They don't get the memes.
No, they don't get the meme.
Like,
yeah. So, but Facebook, they just, I like all my parents' generation, they're all on Facebook. So it's interesting to see what generations go on what platforms. And I'm in the middle of all this, so I'm kind of on all the, I'll probably get a TikTok soon, but I'm on all the different platforms because I enjoy it and I enjoy learning the new ones. But it's interesting hearing it from you, who's a YouTube star yourself, to hear what how, the progression of everything and where you came from Vines, and you and Jake and Logan and Anthony, all those guys, to where you are now. And it's a pretty impressive, for where you came from, Chance, to where you are now is incredible. And
yeah, it's great. I don't even really like, I just am doing me, right? Like I never, that was never my goal, never aimed to be. I don't even think about it like that all the time, but I do hear it a lot. And I'm always told, like, don't undersell yourself. Like it is a crazy feat, so to say.
It is. And when you're, a couple more childhood questions I wanted to ask you. And one of them is, what was your favorite game growing up?
Oh, my favorite game. Wow. Well, there's like the favorite game that I think of, like sentiment, like memory, like just like wholesome, playing with my mom, Kingdom Hearts. Like I remember just like, that's like a whole, when I think about it, it like brings a whole like feeling to my body type vibe.
Yep.
But game for myself, like as a growing up, that like kind of turned me into a gamer, I would say is Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just say Call of Duty. I nonstop. Maybe Gears of War. I don't know if you've.
Yeah, I remember Gears of War. Yep.
Yeah, but I think Call of Duty more so, just because I remember I had an Xbox and I went and there was a whole PlayStation tournament, and I went and bought a PlayStation with my money, because I told myself I was going to win the tournament and it would pay for itself. And then I started grinding every day, all day long. I didn't win the tournament.
Hey, so you talk yourself into it though. That's good enough.
Yeah, I was pissed though after. I was like, dude, why did I buy a PlayStation for this tournament? Like, I just couldn't understand why I did it. And I was like, whatever.
Hey, whatever it takes to BS yourself into getting it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, right. Just convince yourself.
Chance, did you play any GTA growing up? Because that was a huge game in my generation.
I did. Yeah, okay. I did. I didn't play the 1 or 2, but GTA 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Because that was huge when I was in high school, college.
Did you do the missions though?
No, I would just play for fun at my buddy's house. I never had it myself, but all my buddies had it. So every time I go to one of my friends, we just, shoot the shit and play the game.
Yeah, start running people over. Yeah, I never did any of the missions. I just would get stars and run around.
Okay.
Do all the cheats. Yeah. That was fun. GTA is crazy now. Have you seen how big it is on the internet?
No, I knew. Isn't there a new one either out or coming out? Or
I think they said 2022. But
okay.
No, Grand Theft Auto over the last year or so has become massive,
really?
Especially on Twitch. Yeah, the role playing. So RPing, and so they have worlds, man. Like I'm talking like there's a legitimate police force, like all made of real people. There's EMS made of real people.
Really?
There's bartenders. There's casinos. It's all ran by real people.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of AI. There's AI interaction, but
okay.
Like if you were to go rob a bank or do something, like the cops that come are all real cops.
Really?
Yeah, and everyone streams it on Twitch, and it's this crazy synergy and just world. It's wild.
Wow, I did not know about that with GTA. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out now.
You should. It's huge. It's actually it's probably the most entertaining thing right now on Twitch. It's just like so niche, I'd say.
And it's funny because GTA's been out now 20 some years. I mean, that was
that's a meme.
Yeah.
They're on like 7. Like that GTA has been around for so long. And it's blowing up even more. So it's like, it works. It's crazy.
Hey, props to them. They figured it out. So, I mean, when, and
Right.
when you said you grew up, obviously you're a basketball guy, and what got you into basketball? I know you're in Cleveland, so you're, LeBron guy, and actually LA now too with LeBron. So you're everywhere.
Yeah. I rep him so hard. I rep the Lakers too out here. I'm
Oh,
like, whatever.
yeah.
I've lived out here. You can rep the Lakers too.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I lived out there for a year. So I got, it was the Lakers and Clippers. When I moved out there, chance like 10 years ago, Kobe was still around. So I got to see Kobe play multiple times.
Oh, that's so sick.
That was awesome. I got to see him. I think I was 12 rows back because my buddy had really good tickets. And that was when Blake Griffin was on the Clippers and Chris Paul was on the Clippers. So I got to see.
My God.
Oh, yeah, I saw actually the first Laker Clipper game when Paul got traded to the Clippers. It was Kobe, Paul, all
you went.
Guys. It was awesome. It was one game I'll never forget. And Kobe
Electric,
was right there. Yep. And to see him, especially now we know what happened. I'm glad I got to see Kobe multiple times, especially at Staples Center, because it was once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's got to be a memory. Wow.
Oh, it definitely was. Yeah. So I saw Kyrie that year too. He was a rookie for the Cavs that year, and they came and played, and I saw him. So it was a really unique year to be there. But with growing up in Cleveland, so being a LeBron fan, and tell us about your sports background as far as growing up in Cleveland and basketball, football, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I played sports all my life. It was my mom that got me into it. She always told me she was a baller in high school and she was really good. And I remember she told me when I was young, I asked her, I was like, well, how many points did you score? And I just asked her what she averaged and stuff like that. And she told me she averaged 30 points her senior year a game.
I didn't even know that about your mom.
Yeah,
really?
No, me neither.
Points?
And I was like, oh, so you're just a dog. Okay. I get it. I guess that's a lot. I felt like I was, I had to live up to it. Honestly, I was always in my mind. I was like, dude, she was that good. I can't be bad.
Where did she go to high school?
Cleveland, it was in Cleveland, in the heart of Cleveland. I remember it was
I'm trying to think which high school. Thad probably has told me a million times, and I
oh my God, I know it too. I'll text my mom. Maybe she'll get back to me before.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm trying to think where that. I know he's told me before, but I can't remember now.
Anyone in Cleveland would know this school too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And she 30 points a game. I didn't realize she averaged 30 points a game in high school.
Yeah, me neither.
Wow,
crazy.
I knew she played.
Yeah, no, she was varsity all 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, she said it was the only thing that kept her from getting bullied and picked on. She's like, nobody would mess with her just because they knew she was good at basketball. It was kind of her in at that time. But yeah, she started me really young. I played a little bit of football. I was pretty big. I think I was over the weight limit to be able to catch the ball or run with the ball for the league I was in 5th grade. And so I thought that was stupid. I never wanted to play again because I wanted to be a wide receiver. And they were like, you're too big for this, the kids. And I'm like, whatever, I'm just not going to. They stuck me on the line. I'm like, dude, I'm not playing the line. That's so boring.
Oh, I know, especially as a kid.
What am I doing here? And so I just quit football and I just said, all right, I'll stick to basketball. And it was just basketball and video games. I was always really tall. Obviously everyone caught up and surpassed. I'm 6'3", but
still pretty tall.
I was pretty tall. I was always the tallest guy in my class up until 7th or 8th grade. And so basketball, they'd always stick me at the big man position, which I hated, to be honest. I think that's the dumbest. I think teaching younger generations, kindergarten through 4th grade, even if they're the tallest, biggest, clumsiest, whatever. I wasn't that clumsy, but you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They stick them at the 5, the 4 position. And you teach them all how to rebound, box out, all the mic and drill, layups, with the pads, getting tough. They don't teach, but every single practice camp that I remember, this pisses me off still to this day. They always split guards and big men. And they always teach the guards dribbling, passing, all that. And they teach the big guys how to play big guys. I think that's stupid because at a point, I was no longer the big guy. But I didn't have the smaller guy skills. And that was a huge flaw in my game. And it took my confidence down so much because I wouldn't even dribble the ball up on a fast break.
Really?
Ever. Because I always outlet. I never dribbled the ball. I always rebounded and outletted every time for as long as I can remember. And so that really caught up to me in high school. My freshman year, they were picking 2 kids to go to junior varsity. Or they were picking 1 kid to go to junior varsity from the freshman team. There were 2 options. It was Anthony and me. Anthony's handling was much better than mine, which his confidence was just way higher. My confidence was horrible. I'd get the ball and you could just see that I couldn't dribble. And so I wouldn't know what to do in a sense. And I'd just kind of panic and throw it past the ball, sometimes even throw the ball away just because like I don't like, I'm talking, I could get the ball at like half court and it would be a fast break 2-on-1. And I'm not trying to dribble into that at all. Like I don't like I remember in my freshman year, one of the games I got past the ball, that same situation right over the half court line. And I immediately turned back and threw it back to my teammate and it was half court violation.
Oh, wow.
And after that, I was so embarrassed and it just made no sense for me to make that play that after that, I told myself like, I'm becoming a guard. And then I just started working on my ball handling every day. And yeah, I ended up becoming like the 3 position in high school. Point forward. I wanted to do that because LeBron was kind of the point forward. I saw LeBron do it and I'm like, yo, he's like 6'8".
Yeah, he's
dude.
6'8",
like, what are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on, I can dribble the ball. And so I just started, I just remember, yeah, we would go to school we'd go to the rec before school. Anthony and I, we'd shoot around, work on ball handling. After school, we would just dribble and play. We also were made to run cross country to play basketball during high school. Yeah. Which at the time we hated, but I really think that was smart because I could outrun anyone. By the end of practice, the kids that ran cross country, even if we were the guards would always win in suicides. By the end of the practice, that wasn't the case if the guards didn't run cross country. Like anyone that was running cross country at the end of the practice was just outrunning everyone.
Wow.
So you really could see the difference.
Yeah,
definitely gonna get
the endurance part of basketball. People don't realize how much endurance you have to have and how, I mean, it's a lot, and it's a game chance where when you're getting beat up. Like my brother was a center and he got beat up, man, because you have nothing on. There's no padding. So
yeah, no, yeah, you're getting big bodied for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I would do some mess. Whenever there's a kid way bigger, I was one of the biggest kids in the high school team. So I was forced to guard the big man sometimes. I'm only like barely 6'3", right? Like 200 pounds. There'd be like a 6'5", 230 dude, like trying to post me up. And I'm just like, come on, bro. Like, what is this? Like, how am I the tallest guy? Like, where are they finding these guys, bro? Like, why don't we have this? Yeah, dude, whenever someone that big would post me up, bro, like I'd straight up pull their shorts down. I'd like stick my thumb in their ass, maybe, like I would mess with kids, dude, like untie shoes at the free throw line.
I love it.
Yeah. Anything to
get an advantage.
Anything to get an advantage. They were so much bigger than me, man. And they big body me for sure. I had to get some strength. That was my biggest weakness freshman, sophomore year. I just wasn't strong enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge problem. I mean, a lot of kids face that same thing. It's just, your upper body's not built enough at that point.
Yeah. I think about the training that kids have now. Like, dude, it's insane.
It's crazy. It's like they're NBA players. I mean, they're
like by the time they're 10 years old, they're weight training. They're doing ball handling every day. They're shooting, they're big man drilling. Like they got the whole, like we didn't weight train. There was my arms were frail, dude. Like unless you were one of the kids that just, had a 6-pack straight out. Yeah, you weren't looking like that.
No.
And so,
and Chance, you bring up a good point about the big men and the little, like, back in my era when I grew up, the Shaqs and Hakeem Olajuwon and all those guys back, that was like, it was, but now it's like when like LeBron really kind of started a trend too, but and Steph Curry with the shooting. If you're in today's NBA or really I don't care what aspect, grade school, high school, you can't shoot. I don't care what position you're playing.
It's horrible.
You're gonna have a hard time finding any playing time unless you're a great defender or a great rebounder. But I mean, you have to be able to handle the ball.
No. Tell me you don't remember that. Every big man, there's like, imagine like all the big men had no handles, dude. They had no shot. It wasn't even a thought process. Like, and I've literally told myself, like, when I have a kid, like I'm going to teach him the right way to play basketball, like teach him everything. Cause my mom did teach me the right way. She taught me everything. And she did teach me how important handling was. But I remember I came to a point where I told her I didn't want her to be my coach anymore. Cause she was like so hard on me. And not that she was so hard on me, but like, it's your mom like yelling at you in front of everyone. You just be like a little kid. You're just embarrassed. You just like, yo, just don't coach me. Like, let my coach coach me. In reality, it was stupid because the coaches never really, like we said, it wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. And now it's a thing, I feel like. But because imagine like, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, no. I mean, Shaq is a perfect example of some. Now he obviously would never going to have a shot. His hands are too big. But the point, he's a rarity. I mean, he could dominate a
Yeah.
game without ever shooting a three or without ever, he didn't have to do that because he was so physically
Think
dominant.
of Luka without handles in a shot.
Oh, he would be. I mean, he can't
He
guard
wouldn't
anybody.
see playing time. He
No
literally
way.
would not be on the floor.
And it's funny when you look at Luka, Chance. I mean, I look at him. I never thought he would be the superstar that he. I mean, I knew he'd be a nice shooter and all that. He's a superstar. I mean, no one can guard him.
Superstar.
And you would never, by looking at him, you would never guess that. Even
Never.
Trey is small and tiny, and you're thinking this guy's not going to be Steph Curry. These guys.
That was the thought process. If you were big but not big enough for the big men, what purpose did you serve? Because you're not fast enough for the guards. You're not really as agile as the forwards. You're a big man, but you're not big enough to guard the big men. And so it's like, what role do you really fill? Because that's kind of where Luka's at. But handling and shooting just are so dominant.
It's everything.
And and I always felt I really focused on my handling was really poor in high school, but my shot was really good. That was all I ever focused was my shot. I actually had to, but see, and I had a big man shot. It really is crazy to think about because like I feel like if I was a coach, I don't know, I guess there's so much you have to do, but I feel like these are little things that you could just tweak like for your team right away. Like I had a big man shot. I literally would bring the ball all the way back and fucking launch it. And I remembered my freshman year, I had 20 points. We were down by 2 in the fourth quarter and I was wide open for a 3 and I bricked. I couldn't shoot threes. That was my big flaw. Because
what part of the court were you on? What side of the, were you corner shot? Was it?
Yeah. Corner shot.
Okay.
Yeah. Baseline corner shot 3. Okay. Corner shot 3, wide open, kind of a fast break 3, transition 3. We're down by 2. I've scored 20 points. This is a big time shot. And I was wide open and I remember I caught it and I literally thought to myself, fuck. Fuck. Cause I was money from mid-range. That was all I ever did was mid-range shot, like Carmelo, like pull up, never used the backboard because Carmelo never used the backboard.
Nope.
And I literally, if I had to use the backboard, I just couldn't. Like the backboard drills in practice, I was bricking everything. I just wouldn't do it because Carmelo never did it. So I never did it. But yeah, I remember getting the 3 and I just knew in my head, like I literally just knew I wasn't going to hit it. And I shot it and it felt so bad. And just, it took so much from my, my upper body, like boom, just literally boom. You know what I'm talking about? Like what kind of a shot is that, dude? It's a big man shot. It's literally a big man shot. You're in the paint and you're like above your head. So you can't get blocked because you're taller than everyone.
And
it's horrible though. Yeah. Straight bricked it. And I thought to myself, dude, I wasn't even confident taking that. Like I got to fix this. And I moved my shot from up here. That was my 3-point, just my normal shot. And then I moved it to right in my front of my face, but then I couldn't see the fucking rim when I was shooting. And so then I settled right here. Right here. Perfectly. You got the guiding hand. You got the perfect, like right above the shoulder. It felt nice.
And do you have a confident stroke today?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played in a couple of years, but I remember my confidence that then I was shooting anything and everything. I remember I shot better with a hand in my face. I like
Really?
Being contested. Yeah.
It's funny. Some players say that they actually enjoy having someone on them more. It's,
Yeah, no, for pickup games, when you shoot for ball, I'd always shoot for ball. I literally only shot, like I practiced. I was just a shooter. I'd have my friend run at me, whoever was my team, like, yo, pass me and just kind of like close out. Like just do like a half-ass close out.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. And like, let's pick teams, you shoot first and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. And I literally would have my friends close out on me to shoot for ball. And it would work though.
In your generation too, with basketball, especially, how big of an influence has a Steph Curry had as far as shooting goes? Because you grew up in the Steph Curry generation of him, because
insane.
I was going to say,
insane.
And really got to give a shout out to Clay too, because both those guys.
Yeah, both of them.
Greatest shooting backcourt.
And then even Kyrie too with handles. Because before then it was like everyone kind of dogged on the 3-point shooters. Like there was it's a high percentage shot, but it's a bad shot. It's a bad shot. Like if you took I don't know, it just wasn't really taught in practice. We weren't running 3-point shooting drills ever. It was always inside. And so to see Curry just nuke everyone it was instantly like, okay, like I'm doing this. It's kind of the vibe from everyone. Like, I want to do that. Like, that's cool. And so everyone just started shooting threes, and it literally became like a thing. Like, everyone just started practicing threes, no matter if you were big or small. Like, everyone wanted to be the guy that could knock down the three.
He changed the game. There's no doubt about it.
100%. Yeah.
You know, it's one of the biggest changes in any kind of sport I've ever seen. As far as now, everybody, if you're a team that doesn't shoot a lot of threes, you're a rare team.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not really, it's the opposite now. Everyone's taking, 20, 30 threes a game. It's crazy.
Yeah. And honestly, dude, I remember like I loved shooting threes in high school, especially like home games with the crowd. It's like a dunk almost, but I can't, like, most people can't dunk. And so it's kind of like the new dunk for people that can't dunk. Like, it gets the crowd so hyped, and it's worth an extra point. So,
it does. Yeah, you're right. It does get the crowd hyped, and it's just it's a fun shot to take.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about it. I don't know what it is, but Chance, I want to, to change subjects real quickly. I want to talk about Team 10 real quick, and how, you talked a little bit about it before, but how you kind of joined up with Team 10, and then what was your favorite experience being in Team 10? Because they were huge, obviously, at that point.
I would. What did you say besides my favorite moment with Team 10?
So when you first got in, like, what was it like first getting into Team 10, and then what was your favorite moment, throughout the time you were in Team 10?
Yeah. So when we first came to visit, we were scheduled to fly out at the beginning of, or the middle of February, but apparently we didn't even get told this. We were just kind of left blank and said that now's not a good time, and that's all we knew. And we're like, okay. But Team 10 house, this is when Alyssa, she was originally on Team 10, was leaving, and she got into a huge fight with Jake, and there was the whole social media thing going down. And so we were stalled out originally from going down to Team 10. Why that's of importance is because we were ditching on our townhome. We didn't have any money, right? And we weren't telling our parents that we had no money, because they all told us not to move out of our house. We like, don't move out, like, don't move away from home. Like, you're on your own. Like, don't ask me for help if this goes wrong. And it went totally wrong. We were broke. We quit our jobs to pursue this. Yeah. We quit our jobs to pursue it. Maybe not the best decision, but the decision we made. And so we had planned it, like, all right, we're going to dip out on our lease. We're not going to pay it. It's perfect. We're just going to escape to California. Like, they're not going to be able to track us down fast, like, quick like that. Like, we're good for a bit. We'll be good for a bit. And then we get told that it's delayed, and we're like, oh shit, what do we do? And we kind of just waited. I remember I just had like a girlfriend-ish, just kind of hung out around her place for a while. Anthony, like, his parents threw him a whole going away party. Wow. His whole family like came and had a whole barbecue picnic thing, said good luck, gave him like kind of like a graduation day almost.
Wow.
And then his dad's like, wait, why aren't you going? We're like, yeah, we don't really know. But then 2 weeks later, we ended up hopping on a plane out to LA. It did work out. But when we got there, we were originally just supposed to stay there for a week. Just a week, hang out, make content. And that was it. And a week goes by. We were vibing with pretty much everyone in the team. They were all cool. They realized we were cool. They didn't know how we'd be either. They were kind of nervous. Just because they heard we were like Jake's hometown friends. Like, he's like, if they're like fuckers at all, like, let me know. Like, they are, like, so let me know if it's a problem. And we knew that. And so we were on our, best behavior, but still like gooning around. And we realized pretty quick they were all really cool. And we got along instantly with everyone, honestly. And a week went by, and Jake was just like, so like, what's going on? Like, do you guys have plans back home? And we're like, no, not really. Our flight's tomorrow, but we don't really like have anything. He's like, you just want to stay? And we're like, yeah. And that's really how it went. That casual, like, just do you guys have anything going on? You want to stay? And we're like, yeah, we don't have shit. Let's stay. And we just started making videos, being apart every day in videos, because we're out in LA. Like, what are we gonna do? Just sit around all day? Like, no, we were up at 7 a.m. ready to film, do whatever it took just to be active and be a part of it. And that's kind of how it all came along and started. I think my favorite moment, though, was there was a 12,000 fan concert in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just for us. It was a whole, like, a bunch of teeny bopper type vibe. like Disney stars, a lot of the Disney stars do like music with Disney, and make songs like while they're Disney stars. And so it was a lot of those people, with just other smaller influence like type artists. And we were the second last performers, and we flew all the way out to Hershey Park. We got on, we had like 4 songs at the time, and they were all meme songs. Like we never were like, yeah, let's be rappers, or like, let's be like, artists. It was just kind of like, we just made music just for content, just because it was fun, like funny. And just, we had no other good ideas that day. And like, literally, yeah, we just didn't have anything else. And we flew out to Hershey Park, 12,000 people. And everyone knew every single word to all of our songs.
Really?
It was mind blowing, honestly. Like there was legit thousands of kids screaming for us. Like they knew every word to everything. Like if I just like held, like, you hold the mic out, like you see, like it worked. It was like, couldn't believe it. We were all shook.
And Chance, what was that like to be on stage and see all that?
Yeah, it's mind blowing. Like it's surreal, I would say, just because like, you have all these followers on your phone, and you have all these views or whatever, but you don't really think about, is that like an actual human person behind it? And then you get there and you see all these actual people, and you can just feel their energy. And they were like, a lot of them were there for us. Like we were like a main thing of that event. And it was like, they just knew everything about us. It's like how you said, was it your niece or your friend's daughter?
My friend's daughter. Yeah.
Friend's daughter that had us as their background.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like that's crazy. Like I would just never think that that's a thing. And it's just a whole stadium filled with people like that, who know us, love us, like love the content, know every word to every song, and are legitimately here just to like see us. And it was just, we just wanted to give them kind of everything back, like give it like our all, just energy wise and just vibe wise, like on a million. It was something else, honestly.
That's awesome. I remember Thad, and for those of you listening, Thad is Chance's dad, telling me, that I think you guys had a poster or something at Times Square, some kind of
we were on a billboard in Times Square, like the biggest one. I think it is the biggest one in Times Square.
Wow.
It's something like, I think it's like millions of dollars to get it for like a little bit. We didn't pay millions for it. We had a connect, basically, just someone we knew who got it.
Think about that, man. Like, how, you could say you were on that, on the biggest billboard in Times Square. How many people?
Yeah. I remember I took a picture and I sent it to my mom. That's all I wanted to do. I was like, I gotta send this to my mom. Like, this is crazy.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It really.
I remember just wanted to tell her.
I mean, Chance, I remember my nephews were going crazy. Like, Matthew, he followed you since the beginning. So he would update me, and then my friends' kids, because I put you again. I think I posted a picture of me and you on Facebook. It must have been like 4 years ago, whatever it was. And, I had people responding to me like crazy, telling me, oh, my daughter loves Chance. My son loves Chance. I mean, they all knew you. Oh yeah. They knew you.
All friends of yours too,
all
right?
Friends of mine. There's probably 10 of them. No joke. And they would say, is he ever going to be back in town again? Can I meet him? Can I get his autograph? I was like, whoa, like I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in that generation. So I don't know all that, and I was like, I knew you were big because I saw your following, and Thad would tell me. I had no idea, man, until I posted that, until Matthew was telling me, Chance is like huge. And then, seeing my friend's background when you and Anthony were the background, I was laughing. I'm like, that's Chance. Like, I couldn't believe that she knew you. I just,
right. And it was the same feeling for us too. Like we had a lot of people outside our house in LA, like fans, like it was crazy. Actually, they like Hollywood tour buses going by our house.
Wow.
And that was crazy. And we kind of were like, holy, but we're like, maybe it's just like, because we're out in LA and that's like how it is out here. Everyone's looking for like celebrities. Like you go to Hollywood to like, see people. And it really hits when like you travel through airports, and you're on an airport in the middle of Denver, Texas, that you've never, you don't go to. And there's kids that are like looking at you in the airport, coming up to you, or you're like, I go home and we'll go to the mall, like with my family, like my mom or something. And there's kids coming up and you're just like, wow, like this is like everywhere. Yeah. And it still happens to this day. I mean, we don't make as much content anymore. I'm not nearly involved as I was, but even to this day, like it's crazy how the amount of people that recognize.
I mean, Chance, you are the first generation of like YouTube stars, of that type of star. And there wasn't a star when I was in high school. There was no YouTube. There was no internet star like that. You and the Paul brothers and Anthony, all you guys are the first generation of that. So, you know, I mean, because you had the Kardashians before you guys, as far as like a celebrity on TV that had all these, but it was different because there wasn't
it's
social
different.
media back then.
Yeah.
So this is like, I mean, this is a whole different level, and you guys will forever be known as that first generation of stars.
We actually talk about that sometimes. Yeah, that's crazy to think about as well, just because like it really was the first generation of like the YouTube wave, you know.
It was.
Before, yeah, it was.
Chance, I want to tell you. So Thad had a friend named Paul Fisher, was his best friend, you know, and he
Yeah,
passed away. Yeah,
Paul.
Paul was a collector. He had a YouTube page like years ago, and he would just like, you know, and I'll tell you what, he would have. I always tell
he
Thad,
would have.
oh my God, he would have crushed it because he was
on that. He was making beats. He was like making little movies, little videos. He was uploading stuff to YouTube,
and he wasn't doing it to get famous or anything. He was just doing it because he liked it.
And those are the people. Those are the people that blow up the biggest. It's not the people trying to make it. It's just the people that have a clear passion and love for it.
100%. And we were just talking about that a few weeks ago. And Matthew didn't know about Paul Fisher, and I was like, oh, you got to check out his page. He's still, Chance, on his page, he has over 1 million views, and he's been, you know, and he passed away years ago. And
yeah,
like,
that's
he wasn't like a celebrity or anything, but he just loved what he did. So
and think about all the stuff he posted, how long ago that was, how
13
like
years ago. Yeah,
little, how like nobody knew what an algorithm was at the time. Like you didn't know that like you need to do certain tags, certain style. Like there was none of that. Imagine like if he had access to all of that information now and continued, like it would, he would have blown up for sure.
He would have blown up. Yeah, we were just talking about that. And actually, I wanted to ask you that question because I wonder what Chance would think about that. But Paul was a very unique guy, and I watched his page about a couple weeks ago, and I miss him a lot because he was a great guy. But he just had these ordinary, you know, he would just talk about that his doorbell, his father's old 1945 doorbell, and people loved it. They're like, oh my God, that's funny, whatever. But yeah, so you guys kind of took it to a different level. And, you know, when as far as a fan experience, Chance, what's your craziest fan experience? You know, I'm sure you've had some crazy ones.
There's like crazy bad or like
either way. I mean, either way.
Either way.
I'm sure there's plenty of crazy bad.
Yeah, some of the crazy bad ones were like, we invited over another one. Okay, there's a couple of them. It's hard to pick just one. None of them went really too bad, like south. They were just really weird and kind of. It was more of just like, thank God this guy wasn't an actual psychopath, because like we could have all just died for sure if he was. We would have kids sneak into our house. Like we invited over another influencer. His name's Tanner Fox one time. And a lot of times when we invite them over to film, they'd bring a couple friends, like, you know, they'd have their little gang, like little entourage. And so he walked in the door with like 4 or 5 dudes. I think it was 5 guys he walked in the door with. He only came with 2. So it was 3 of the people we invited, but 5 walked through the door. And this is at a time where we have anywhere from like 50 to 100 people outside our house all day long. And so it's really chaotic coming in. Like there's just people everywhere, like yelling, you know, it's not like oh, what's your name? Like, it's just like get inside, what's up? Like there was no introduction, like formal introductions to where we would be like, wait, who are you? They walked in. We thought they were with them. They thought they were with us. No one said anything. This is during the Cavs finals, the year we lost to the Warriors after the
championship.
Yeah. And yeah, they were just, dude, they came at the start of the game. We didn't realize till halftime. They were just chilling, small talk. I'm chatting it up with these guys. They know sports. So like, we're like, oh yes, other people actually watch sports in this house. We're literally chatting it up with these dudes, like eating out of the chip dip, just laughing. And it just kind of comes around with Tanner's like, yeah, like, yo, like Tanner asked Jake, he's like, who are those guys? Like, who are they? And Jake's like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, I thought they were with you. And he's like, they're not with me. And we all kind of just looked at it, and the room got quiet real quick. And we're like, yo, who the fuck? Like, who are you guys? And they were like, honestly, man, we're just fans. We just thought it would be crazy to sneak in here and try this, bro. We just had to do it. And we were like, all right, respect. Like, yo, like, yeah, you know, like respect, you know, you might, all right, respect, respect. Yep. We'll get you out of here. It was kind of like, that's really weird. Kind of want to not like you right now.
Yep.
But you have balls. Like, that was crazy. I would have never done that. Respect, bro.
That's a lot of balls.
We gave him a little knuckle touch, but like, if you do this again, it's not going to end the same way. Have a good day.
Yep. You're right. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like they were really cool and it was chill, but like, we don't know you.
No.
And this is at a time where shootings were through the roof in America as well. Before COVID stopped school systems, it was a shooting every other day. And I continuously talked about that at Team 10. We had, because there were kids like in the middle of the night, you would see on the cameras, kids walking through the side of our house into our backyard. And it's just like, bro, like if these kids can walk in our backyard, like anyone can walk in our backyard.
Yeah.
And so that happened. We moved to Calabasas. We had full-time security in Calabasas. They were current and ex LAPD officials. Wow. And so it was a really good security company, all professional, like 20 plus years on the police force, or they were current active duty, just off duty. And so they were legit. Somehow this dude timed their walk-bys and snuck in right as they're like through the walk-arounds. And I'm in the gym with Anthony and a couple other people. Jake's in the kitchen. We're lifting in the weight room. He just walks in through the outdoor patio into the weight room. He's got like a Team 10 shirt on, like a backpack. And there's people coming out of the house left and right. Like, I don't know half the people coming in, like most of the time. He just walks in and he like gives a head nod. He's like, "What's up, guys?" And like, he's friendly. There's people here all the time. We have security. So I'm thinking like he's vetted, he's good. And I'm like, "What's up, bro?" Knuckle touch him. He walks right by me. Knuckle touches Tony, walks right by them. He's like, "Where's Jake?" I'm like, "Oh, in the kitchen." He's like, "All right." Walks right through all of us, goes down the hallway. And there was just something to where we all just looked at each other and we're like, "Yo," kind of just all looked and said, "Yo," pointed towards him. No one really said anything. We're like, and then we followed in. We didn't know it was just weird. Something like there was just a tick literally. Cause it was very common for people we didn't know to walk in and like, "Where's Jake?" Like they're here for business. They're here for ideas. They're just some influencer he invited over, their brand. Like there's people in and out of the house left and right. It's hard to keep track of. And yeah, he was just a fan, man. He walked into the house. He's like, "What's up, Jake?" Jake said, "Sup?" And then we're like, "Who are you, bro?" And Jake was like, "You guys don't know?" And we're like, "Nah." And then we're like, everyone kind of like, "Who are you?" Like, and he's just a fan. And it was a really heated moment. That was actually the most heated our house ever got. We all got really upset. And it was more so just because like, how did this happen? Like we have security, like we're on like this guy walked in with a backpack, knuckle touched all of us and walked through like,
That's
not
scary.
to like, think about if he wanted to do harm easily. We're all easily
gone. Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly. And I thought about it, I'm like, dude, if he wanted to, like, there's like, we literally opened up the door, like everything to him. So it was just one of those moments where like, wow, what do we even do at this point? And that actually happened again too. That happened in the middle of the night. Someone came in at like 3 a.m.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I wasn't there for this one, but my friend Anthony was up. He had a couple of friends. We had a couple of friends from Ohio visiting, and they were in his room at like 2:33 in the morning, just playing video games. And he just opens the door and walks in the room.
What the hell?
He's looking for Jake. They're like, "Who are you, bro?" And he didn't answer. And they knew instantly because he had a backpack. It was the same vibe. And they just kind of grabbed him and they like threw him up against the wall. We're like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you here?" And they didn't punch him or beat him up. But they just like threw him against the wall and held him there and like kind of held his hands and just like yelling at him, like, "What are you doing? Like, how do you think this is okay? Like I should mess you up right now." Like someone breaks into your house at 3 a.m. Like, what is the appropriate response? But at the same time, it's like, this kid is like, something clearly isn't ticking up here to do that. Mm-hmm. He's not armed. He's not posing a threat. So like, it's a really weird situation. We just called the police. He ended up getting him out of there. The cops even said they were surprised we didn't do anything to him. We're like, we're not trying to mess people up. I mean, this guy's just a psycho, dude. Like, why is he in our house? A lot of instances like that, that were pretty bad, but like could have been way worse. And so not really that bad.
I mean, Chance, those are crazy. Think about being in your room at 2:30.
2:30 in the morning.
In your own place.
And he
walks in,
opens the door, walks in your room. Like, I want
to say to him, like, what did you, I mean, what did you expect was going to happen? Like they're going to say, "Hey, come on in, man." Like, we don't know who the
that's what we kept saying. Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand the logic there. I get if you want, I'm sure some of these people aren't all there too, but I mean, like, if you're a fan, like, I mean, there's got to be another way to meet
Yeah,
you,
like,
or, you know, than to do it that way. I mean, that's
yeah.
like, come on. I'm sure
There's
it's
people that wait outside the house and like the gate, or like wait to see you leave and like wave and try to flag you down. Like even that can get like people just waiting outside your house all day long can get a little annoying. But I mean, at that point, like that was never like, there was no malice or like anything to fear from that. And so we were always really kind and usually took the time for those fans. But yeah, I just always assumed something was wrong. And like, you're breaking into someone's house, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, would I ever break into Drake's house? Like, never in a million years, dude.
And go in his room.
Like, yeah, like, what are you doing? You're going into their room at 3 a.m. Like, how do you know they're even like? Yeah, I don't know.
I get maybe you guys are armed, or that you're not.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
you do that in Ohio, like, you know, you're not walking out of that house.
No, you're walking in someone's bedroom. It's like, man, parts of this state you're getting. Yeah, you're not going to walk out.
So you're not walking out, man.
No, that's just insane. I mean, those are the kind of stories to me that people who aren't in your shoes and who aren't famous and who don't live in the LA's, you know, and don't live in that environment, they would have no idea what that's like. And that's
and it's like you lock all your doors, you have security, you are thinking about it, and it's like, no, you have cameras, and yet somehow it's still happening. And like these people are like, I'm talking like, they're going through the woods at the deepest end of your property through a river that is like, you have to walk a mile around stuff just to even find that there's a hole in the fence that you could go. Like it's crazy. Like the length and time that they went through to do stuff like that.
No, that is crazy.
And I'm just really thankful that it wasn't an actual, you know, psychopath. Because I talked about that all the time. I was like, dude, what, like we see all this stuff on the news, like, a lot of times it seems that some of these people are doing it for a bit of that reasoning as well, right? To draw the effect, the news, all of that. And if you think about it at the time, like this is a house filled with people that are massive on YouTube. Like if you wanted to make a statement, like you hit that house. That's what I kept saying personally. Like this is what I thought. I'm like, dude, like it's a ticking time bomb. And I mean, obviously nothing ever happened, but
you're right though, Chance. I mean, there was a band back in the 90s called Pantera, a metal band, one of my favorite bands growing up. And there was the lead guitarist was named Dimebag Darrell. And they were playing down in Columbus, 2004. And some psycho goes on stage with a shotgun and starts shooting all the band members. I mean, and killed Dimebag. So, you know, he was the greatest guitarist of our generation. And just because he thought this guy broke up Pantera, he's like, I'm thinking, think about that. He went and shot him, killed him. It's like,
that's just so sad, man.
Yeah. And that's why with you guys, you're right. I mean, it's not that crazy to think that could have happened, just because there are people who are like that, who think that, you know, Jake or Chance or whoever, you know, pissed me off somehow. They said something on a video that pissed me off. You never know. And people
never know. I mean, you never know. Like a lot of people get caught for even less, like just, you know, a lot of people make decisions on nothing, just because they make up their own story in their mind. Like, and then they just see you guys, they envy, hate, jealous, like whatever it even is. Like maybe they loved us and we turned them down for a photo one time and that was the screw that got loose. Like you just never know. And yeah, I mean, think about it. You have a family, like people are walking around your house at 2 a.m, like your backyard. Like it's just not cool. It's scary.
Not cool at all.
Yeah, it's not cool. Looking in your windows, like you can see them visually looking in your windows, like through, like it's just weird.
That's what it comes down to. It's just, you know, now Chance, a couple things I'm going to talk about, and I appreciate you giving me time today and do all.
Yeah, no, I'm free. I'm down to talk as long as you want. I've been talking a lot. Sorry about that.
No, this is what we want. I mean, this is what the fans want to hear. This is what we want to hear. So, I mean, we don't have my podcast. I want people, you know, I want your experience. This is what it's all about. Give me your, you know, experience from growing up, like you have, all the way through becoming famous. And this is what people like to hear, because, you know, not many people live the life that Chance Sutton has lived. So they want to hear it from your mouth. Like, what is it like living that life? What is it like? And you're very humble. So, you know, that's why I like a lot of the people I've had in the show are very humble. And I appreciate the fact that they can, you know, share their stories. So yeah, man, you are huge in your generation and people love hearing this. So, and in fact, your family makes it even better. But yeah, a couple of things I have for you, and, you know, a couple off topic and then a couple about you as far as like some of your gaming coming up and things like that. Yeah. One of them is, have you watched any of the Jake and Logan fights? And what did you think about those two guys becoming boxers?
I've watched every single one. Haven't paid for any of them though. Just throwing that out there. You know, I don't want to If you're paying for all these fights, you're messing up. But I think it's really smart. It started off as just kind of a joke. I mean, it started off just how the music started off. Like it's just like it actually started off because we didn't like these guys, and it's like, yo, like we actually want to fight you. Like we really don't like you. Like how, like I'll fight you right here, right now. They were kind of too scared and / like they're UK and just it's like internet beef. So it's like it's not like we go to the same school or anything. We're not going to see each other all the time. And so it just kind of escalated like, yo, like let's fight, let's do it. And like you want to fight? Like we'll fight. And it's like, all right, let's box. And like, all right, let's box. And it just kind of escalated into that. And yeah, they just ended up getting trainers, setting a date 6 months from now. They set a date. They came up with the idea, let's box. And it was very simple, just like that. Like, yo, like we want to fight you. You want to fight? Like, all right, how do we do this? Let's box. Okay, win. Well, let's do it in a couple months so we can build up hype and like get an actual boxing arena and do it the right way. And then you start going that route. And it's like, okay, there's so much hype. We need a stadium and now we need sponsors. Oh my God, we're going to need agents and have this be a legit thing now, just because that's how much attention was drawn to it, that it just kind of got that big. And now it's like, all right, well, it's 6 months from now. I don't want to get my ass beat in front of the world. I need to train as hard as I can. And so when you train as hard as you can, like there's not much different. Like if a pro fighter is going to train for 8 hours in a day and you're going to go train for 8 hours in a day, you're training as much as a pro fighter. You do that over 6 months. You're not as good at, you haven't been doing it for 6 years, but you have pro fighter, you have as many hours as a pro fighter would in practice for those 6 months that you have. So it just takes the intensity level up so much that you end up just starting to love it and go really hard. I'm speaking out of experience because it's the same thing with gaming. When you're trying to go pro in a video game, it's just about time and effort. And once you do it that long, for that many hours for that long, you just become really good and really ingrained in wanting to do good. And so it becomes like, it's no longer just a fight. It's everything. It's your life. Like you're living and breathing, like recovery, train. Like Jake he literally went to camps with retired professional fighters in preparation just for this boxing event, like against another YouTuber. I think the world really took it as like, oh, they go to see a boxing coach a couple of days a week for like an hour, when it's like, no, they're waking up at 7 a.m. to a trainer at their house and then doing 3 sessions in a day. Like they're training in the morning, they're eating a meal, recovering, right back at it 3 times a day, like 10 hours a day, like nonstop. As if you were a pro fighter already. That's how the training was. And then the amount of money they made off the first one, they just realized, yo, this is insane.
Oh yeah,
we need to keep doing this. And I think at the time too, we kind of took a page out of the UFC's. I mean, I didn't take a page. I understood everything that's happening and was a part of it, but it was really Jake leading that. And I didn't really want to be a part of it with the, I could have been on the first fight against another guy named Wolfies. I just wasn't about the trash talk leading up to the fight. I was kind of over that. I did enough of that in like high school is how I felt. But yeah, they, wait, hang on. What did I just say?
You're talking about
my train of thought.
No, so the track. You were going to be.
Yeah. They realized after the first fight how much money there was to be made, and then it just kind of turned into like, so it took 6 months for the first fight. So now Jake's been training 6 months every day like a professional fighter. He won whatever that fight happened. Now there's a rematch that's in another 8 months. Now you could take time. He didn't take any time off for that 8 months. It wasn't like he slowed down and started just casually training. He continued to train like a professional fighter for the next 8 months for the next fight. That happens. Now he's been training for a year and a half as a professional fighter with professional fighting camps. And so, you're like a 24-year-old guy. That's like prime pretty much. Like you're in your prime, you could like so much recovery, so much strength, energy. He has the money, the attention, the drive to do it all. And so it just kind of spiraled out of that. Like it turned from just a casual, like me and you don't really like each other. We're talking shit on the internet. Like, let's fight. All right, let's fight. Into just this, what it is now, fighting Logan Paul's fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Crazy. It's
Like,
crazy.
what?
Yeah.
Like, you would never in a million years think that.
No, dude, that's like you going up against LeBron one-on-one.
And did you see how like he was pretty not the best fighter in his first couple boxing matches? He was a good wrestler. He's bigger than me. He's strong, but he did not look like a fighter in the first couple boxing matches that he had. And so just personally, I thought he was done with fighting after he lost to KSI. And then, yeah, he didn't stop, and he understood that the moment was there. There was this is what I meant to say. I remember what I wanted to say. The moment was there. They kind of took a page out of the UFC's book. The UFC got so hype and so big just because the amount of trash talk leading up to it, and just like Conor McGregor smashing a chair into a bus, like just all this hype nonsense that worked and got attention. And if you think about it at the time, like no one cared about boxing. Not a single person I know outside of like old heads that love boxing. Like not a single one of my friends ever watched a boxing event.
It was all UFC. One. Yep.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it was all UFC. And before UFC, it was nothing. We didn't care about boxing. It was so boring. No, like outside of like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. I remember when they fought. Other than that, I didn't watch anything else. Maybe some like Canelo fight, maybe. But like those are the biggest, greatest fighters, like, and you barely even care, you know? And so they just took a page out of the UFC, and they saw that you need to bring the attention and hype. You gotta make people want to see this fight. How do you do that? You talk mad shit. And that's kind of just the route they went with it. Drawing it out over an extended period of time too, as well. So you're hearing this for like 3 months. So it's like, oh my God, I've heard this has been going on for so long. Like, I got to see what happens. Because if they fought in a week and they talked crap all week, there'd be so many people that still didn't hear about it. Or even like it's such a short time span. But I think drawing it out for those months, really, you just hammer away at how big and epic and crazy this is going to be. And it just, after so long, you got to see what happens. Like you're vested.
I mean, they really have been masters at marketing what they've done. And like you said, I think hearing the behind the scenes training that they both go through, especially Jake, that's something that the average person wouldn't know. Because I mean, I knew they had to be training, but I didn't realize how much.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they're training, but like, do you know they're training for 10 hours a day in a camp with retired Hall of Fame boxers? Like,
nope.
Yeah, like I remember Jake went out to, I think he went to Colorado for altitude training. He had his camp in Colorado for the altitude, and it was a month. It was like a 6-week camp, I think, where he was like, eat, sleep, and breathe boxing. That's it. That's all he did. And people don't give enough credit to that. They just undermine, like, even with Logan's fight against Floyd, like, people thought Floyd was going to just mop the floor with him. I mean, granted, he's like 20 years older and the weight difference, but one of the greatest fighters of all time. You know what I'm saying? You would think that like, oh, this is just a YouTuber kid who just boxes on the side. Like, no, he's putting in the same amount of work as you. Even though you've been doing it longer and you're way better, he's working just as hard as you right now. And that's what matters. Oh, in a way, like, obviously a pro would still win against them. Like, someone in Logan's weight class who is a current professional would absolutely slaughter him. But he's been working hard enough to where it's not something to be looked over, you know?
Yeah, he's respectable.
Yeah, exactly. It's respectable.
And I think most people, and me included, Chance, when I saw they're going to fight, I thought they're going to get their ass kicked. This is going to be a joke. You know, I really thought it was more of a joke than anything. And then you realize, these guys are taking it, like you said, they're taking it seriously, and they're getting more respect from people now. They didn't at first, obviously. They're people thought the same thing I did. But they're getting a lot more respect now, and people are like, they're taking it seriously.
Yeah, and we were. It was funny because we saw the public like sentiment, how they thought, but we knew what they were actually doing, and we're like, yo, like, I don't think people realize, like, Jake's. I mean, he's been training for 3 years now, almost 2-3 years. Like, that's gonna count for something, right? Like, I'm excited for this Tyron Woodley fight, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
just because. But I mean, the whole MMA community wants him to destroy Jake. Like they need to shut him up, is how they all feel, you know?
Oh yeah. It's so fun. There's so much animosity. That's a fun of it.
So much. Yeah. I mean, that's what sold it all too. Like they knew that. I mean, it's just like high school, dude. I swear. Like, how to bark at someone in front of everyone to get them riled up. Like, it's all it is.
Exactly.
if I say the right things in front of all these people, like you're going to have to respond.
Exactly.
And that's just what they did. Yeah.
And Chance, I give props to Nate Robinson too, you know, because I know he gets ragged on for what happened.
Yeah.
But,
Oh my.
but hey, the
I'm
dude took
still,
it like a man, and he's like, he came out and he said, look, I mean, he went out there and he fought. Like I wouldn't have done that. I'm, you know,
yeah.
So
I
like,
see that's another thing. I literally, I didn't even want to watch that fight. I knew he was going to get destroyed. It was like anyone I talked to that didn't say Jake was going to destroy him. I'm like, you don't understand, bro. Like this guy's smaller than him and it does not fight. Like he might have been in a couple of street fights, but like realistically, like you're an NBA player, bro. Like how many fights have you been in recently?
Yep.
Like maybe when you were a kid, like sure, that was 15 years ago. This dude's been training for 2 years to destroy people. Like you're out, you just, you know, it's not people. Yeah. It just comes down to people just didn't understand what was actually going on.
Exactly. And there's a couple NBA players who, Larry Johnson, Kendall Gill, who are actual boxers. I mean, Larry Johnson could have been a boxer. You know, he was a legit, like he's a big dude, but these are back in the 90s, you know, and they still, I think Kendall Gill still trains now as a boxer. But those guys, like you said, those would be the kind of guys that would give Jake and Logan more of a, you know, that
yeah, those are, yeah.
Because they're actual boxers. But the other guy, exactly. Nate Robinson, he wasn't a boxer. I mean, he didn't.
Yeah.
You know, so again, I think, you know, I remember seeing the meme. It was Oliver, and it was kind of brutal for a while. He was getting, but I give the guy.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. Honestly.
I did too.
Like did too. It's rough. That's rough.
Dude, my NBA page, it was all the NBA players were just messing with him. I'm like, damn, it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
But
when you were watching the fight, did you know it's about to happen?
Yeah.
I was calling it. I was like, dude, I was like, don't get up. Don't get up. He gets up. He's wobbling. I'm like, no, here we go.
When he got up, yeah, I mean, you knew something, it wasn't gonna be good. And I'm thinking, yeah, like, shit, man. But again, I'm gonna give Nate his props. You know,
I give him his props too.
Yeah, he took it like
respect.
a man, and you know, respect. And I mean, it is. I wouldn't want to imagine you're a meme like that for the rest of your life. You know, and you're gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, and he's like a Hall of Fame like dunk legend. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, he was a good player. He wasn't.
Yeah, everyone knows Nate Robinson, bro.
Yeah. So,
and yeah.
It was just kind of funny. I mean, I remember seeing after the fight, I'm like, this is going to be bad on social media. And sure enough, like the next couple of days, he was just getting ripped on. But
he probably didn't even go on social media for a couple
I
days.
bet he didn't. I wouldn't have if I were him.
Me neither.
But Chance, like, there's so many topics we can cover, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but like I want to, you know, I want to dig into a couple more things before we go here.
Yeah, no worries. I'm chilling.
So, looking at where you are now with your career, and you know, as far as the gaming and everything you've done, what do you see the next 5 years, you know, going?
I think I've moved away. I don't want to. Content creation was never my like passion or love. It was just more of like, I can be funny. I know how to like do it on. I know how the game works. I know how to play the game, and so I played it. But moving forward, I think I want to move more into. I think being in the space is absolutely what I want to do, just because it's the future. It's like nobody watch like TV is like, you know, it's just the future with everyone's on social media. I don't have the studies on me or like off the top of my head, but I know there's studies done that show we're still in the first wave of social media. This is still wave one, which is mind blowing.
It is mind blowing.
But if you think about it, like think about your generation. How many people are actually on outside of Facebook? How many people in your generation are fluidly on Twitter and Instagram posting all the time and like get understanding all the memes and really getting what's going on around the world? I
mean, my generation probably an okay amount. Like I'm 37, so but a decent amount. But that's like the peak, right?
Yeah, no, and then that's like that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, once you get past 37,
like
once you get past that,
older, like 40 plus.
No, they're mostly Facebook and a little bit of Instagram, a little bit, but not.
And I feel like your knowledge of memes, you're with it. You fully understand. You're in this space. You have a passion, like with your podcast and your Instagram account. Like you understand and you crush. Think about all the blue collar workers and just like people that aren't, you know, like the thing about the people that aren't into podcasting or doing what you're doing. Like if you didn't have the passion for what you have it for and journalism, would you really be like, what would, you know, you'd have a Twitter to follow sports,
but I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. No.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like you that way.
Yeah. And so, but kids that are like 20 right now, especially the teenage kids, but even like mid 20s, everyone knows everything that's happening. Everyone gets all the memes pretty much. I'd say like around my age, like 24, 25, is like the cutoff for TikTok. I'd say like a lot of people my age still don't really like TikTok, even though a lot do as well. It's kind of like a balance of it. But you go younger than me, everyone's on TikTok.
No
You
question.
go under 20, all TikTok, everyone.
That's all my nephews do is TikTok.
Yeah.
They're all day. Yep.
And now think about this. Think about when I'm 45 and when all those kids are 40. Think about all the kids that are born in the past couple of years and that are going to be born in the next years. They're going to be on social media for their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be on social media. And think about how many more people, like think about the amount of people there are from 40 up right now. And now think about 20 years from now, the amount of people that'll be on social media for that age range.
It'll be crazy. I mean, everyone.
It's like, yeah, everyone will be everyone from like 5 years old, maybe a little older, 5 years old to 50 years old in the next 25 years. I'll be 50 in 25 years. I'll still be on social media for sure. I'll be hip with whatever is going on. Everyone though, that'll be everyone in the world and within that age range is on social media. If you look at what it is right now, like it's nowhere near that. Like there's still so many adults that don't care. They don't care enough.
They don't understand it. Yeah. They
yeah.
get the value in it. Yep.
But it's going to turn to where every single person understands it and is on it. And so we really are in wave one. And so I think staying in this space and in this like sector is the key. Even if it's like has nothing to do with social media, even if it's e-commerce, drop shipping, everything is just going to exponentially grow over the next 20 years because of how many more people are going to be on the internet just based off of new people being born. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to go on the internet like everyone does.
And Chance, I never thought about like the fact that all the kids being born today, you're right. Every single one of them, I mean, are going to be their whole lives are going to be on. We weren't on our social media our whole lives. I was
never,
10 years ago, whatever it was, 12 years ago. And you probably 15 actually, and you the same. But these kids are going to, since they're 5, 6, 7 years old, they're going to be getting whatever popular.
Yeah.
Point. You'll be the left out kid if you're not on there.
Exactly. And then we turn into we turn into the older generation, the newer generation comes up, but every generation now is going to be on social media. Like right now, there's no, like the amount of 60 or 50 up year olds that are on social media it's very small. In 20 years, it's going to be a majority of them.
No question.
And so, just the amount of people on the internet is going to continuously grow. And so I think why would you not try to do something with that? If it's going to happen, it's already happening, but you're technically still early. A lot of people think that they're late or it's too late. Everyone's trying to do it. That's the case. That is kind of true. Everyone is trying to do it, but it's only going to keep getting harder. There's only going to be more people. So if you're ever going to start and do it, like now is the time, because it's only going to get harder. There's only going to be more people born and more people on the internet as the years go by.
That's true. I mean, and Chance, I run a blog for mental health, for anxiety mostly, because I struggle with anxiety at times, but it's called Uplifter. And I started posting blog posts a couple years back. And I remember a lot of people saying everyone's blogging, and everyone does. Blogging's been going around for 20 years. But I'll tell you what, I stuck with it. Once a week I would post, because I thought the same thing. I'm like 10, 15 years from now, though, those posts gain, when you have the right hashtags and when you optimize it the right way, 10 years from now, and I write 2,000 word posts. So 2,000 word posts, like a year from now, are a lot more. The search engine picks it up a lot more than a short post. So it's little things like that people don't understand. They think, everyone's doing it. Yeah, but if you do it the right way, not many people stick with things the right way. They'll do it. Quit.
They'll do it a little bit. They'll do it, but they won't do it the right way. And even doing it the right way is constantly changing. Mm-hmm. Like what worked 2 years ago doesn't work right now, and it didn't work a year ago, but it works right now. So it consistently evolves and changes. And I just think the only way, like anyone can do it, anyone can make it. Yeah, everyone is trying to, and it's hard. But if you are just consistent with what you're doing and you look at it objectively, like, all right, if I didn't like this topic, or if I didn't know this person, what I think this video is shit. Do I want to tell my family to go watch this video I made because it's that good? Or do I think I don't want anyone that I know to watch it? If you don't want anyone you know to watch it, or like you're not even entertained throughout it, how is anyone else going to be? And then if you're not, so like, and like you said, the 2,000 words pick up on the algorithm. If you consistently just do that over years, like you could do it for 3 years, have no success, and then 3 years and a month go by, and boom, it takes off. And now all the ones that you've been doing over the past 3 years are getting seen as well. So it wasn't for nothing. Everything stays forever. You can get views on anything from years ago. It's just about consistently, and how you said, doing it the right way. Like, you've done it the right way. I know you put a lot of research into doing it the right way. You've spent months. I think the way you did it was great. You spent months finding people you liked, finding what they did that worked, what was working, and just how you could do it in your own way uniquely, and consistently doing it. And that's the key. That's all you got to do.
No, that's true. And again, like you said, people don't, and I think doing it for the right reasons. And you're a big proponent of this. You have a passion for what you do. So you're not just gaming just to make money or or to be famous.
Yeah.
You're gaming because you love it. You've been doing it since you were a kid and you love it. So I think for people out there, if you're just trying to make a quick buck or trying to be famous, you're in it for the wrong reasons. And you're not,
it's going to be too hard.
Yeah, it's going to be too hard. People are going to see right through your shit. I mean, very few people can make that happen. Most people have to have a legit passion for what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's because this is a job like no other. Let's just say you wanted to be the manager at McDonald's. You go get a job at McDonald's as a grill boy, whatever. It sucks. You hate it, but you know that you're on the right track. And you know that, like, it's for sure you're on the right track. You've started with social media and content creation. When it's not working, it's very hard to know that you're on the right track. It's a lot of people will start doing it because I want to do it. I love it. And they start doing it. They realize it's a lot of effort, a lot of time. It's mentally taxing. And there's no really gratification or like satisfaction when it's not, you don't really know, like, you're just making stuff. It's not getting tons of views. How do you know it's gonna get tons of views later? It's kind of like a never-ending tunnel that you just got to keep pushing for to see the end of the light. But it's very hard to picture that light when you just can't see anything because nothing's working. You don't really know what you're doing. And it's also hard. Like, like a lot of people like their peers and just people, will see it. And it's like a lot of people get like cringed out by it, can't handle that. Like, I'm making videos every day and they don't get any views. Like, what is everyone going to think? Like, there's so much that goes into it, and you just got to it's hard to shut all that out. Like, at least, when you're going to the job you hate at McDonald's, at least, I'm working at McDonald's. Like, and I want to be a manager at McDonald's. Like, I'm in the right place. At least, you're in the right place and you're climbing the ladder. With this, it's like, anyone can be in the right place. So how do you know you're climbing the ladder? It's really hard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can relate everything.
100%. I mean, I'm probably like, even to some degree, because I've had things that didn't blow up and I had things that blew up. So I had, not at your level, but I've had things, I got, almost.
Oh yeah.
So I've had certain things that have done pretty well, other than all organic stuff. All other things have bombed. So it's like, I know what it's like on both sides. I understand. Like, it is embarrassing when you put yourself out there and you're getting hardly anybody to look at your stuff. But I think that's what makes the people who, that's the difference between someone who makes it and someone who doesn't, and someone who has a passion for what they do and someone who doesn't, because you're going to have days where your posts have, I have 5 people like some of my posts sometimes for other things I run and uplift.
Yeah.
Other days I'll have a lot more. And sometimes people don't look at, I could tell when I publish a blog, I might have 300 people look at one and 2 look at another, so it's like, you just got to put up with the day. I've realized if you could put up with criticism and put up with people, there's going to be trolls. There's going to be people who don't like your stuff. That's not, as I'm sure there's tons with, how big you are. If you could put up with that, and you can put up with, maybe being a little bit embarrassed once in a while in front of your family and friends, which I don't care about, that if you could do that, who cares? At that point, it's like, hey, it's gravy then, because everything else is, after that, it gets a lot easier.
And that's where I think the passion comes in. You just got to know that this is what you want to do and just continue to try to do it. Once, like, you only lose when you give up, right? Like, it's so cliche. I've found in the last couple of years, like, of my life, all the like cliche lines are so true. They're all so true,
when you grow up and you hear it from your parents and everything, and you're like, shit, it is true. Yeah, it
ends up being true. They're cliche for a reason.
I mean, even the stuff, Chance, and you're a generation younger than me, so you'll even see this more in your 30s. But when I'm starting to learn now how important family is, and family and friends. I know you see that too. But it even, as you get older, it becomes even more apparent, because when when I was like in my teens, I was partying, I didn't give a shit, whatever. Now it's like, man, my family and friends, the people around me, those are the people who are going to support me and be there for the rest of my life. You can't count on all the other, all the fans you have. Obviously, it's great, but they're not the people there for you,
exactly
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I've even noticed it the last couple of years, like just like thinking about my mom, like because I'm out in California, she's in Ohio. Just thinking about damn, like I think about like the memories I have with my mom, and I'm like, I don't have any like of recently. And I'm like, that sucks. I'm like, if anything were to happen or just like whatever, like I'd never forgive myself because I just don't have any, like I haven't been there in so long. Uh, and that's started to make me realize like, yeah, like you really gotta family and friends are like everything. What else really is there at the end of the day? You
It's
know?
true. It's so true. And again, I think for people who to hear that from you, especially, like, it's not all about, yeah, the money's nice, the fame, all that's all great, but it really comes down to the people around you in the end.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just doing what you love and then having the right people around you. To me, that's a
Yeah.
huge success to, to anything in life. So a few more things that I wanted to talk to you about. Number one, another random question for you. Who's like the coolest celebrity you've ever met?
The coolest celebrity I've ever met. Hmm. I'd say the coolest for me, like the not like them being cool, but like the coolest in my mind was meeting the Wolf of Wall Street. I
Oh,
had
really?
yeah, I had dinner with him.
No
Um,
kidding.
yeah, I sat right next to him. It was a birthday dinner for one of the kids on Team 10, one of the members. And we were at a long dinner table. Like if you picture like 20 people at a dinner table on a big, like old school style table. We were at this restaurant called Beauty in Essex in Hollywood. If people are around, they know about it. It's a pretty popular restaurant. Yeah, and he came in for the member's birthday, and he sat right next to me and Jake, literally in between us, and it was just the coolest shit ever. Because the movie, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
Yeah, and we asked him to tell us a couple stories. We're like, all right, you got to give us something. We're like, what? Like, give us something, man. And we're like, we're like, I want. We're just begging him to give us something. And he's like, all right, all right, all right. He's like, you watched the movie? And we're like, yeah, of course. And he's like, all right. He's like, in the movie, the aunt died, and that's why we had to take the boat, the yacht over to Europe, and that's the whole. They got capsized, and they had to be rescued by international waters or whatever, the Coast Guard. Um, that's not actually why they were going there. He told us the real reason is they were partying. They had a bunch of quaaludes, and they said it's like the fifth stage of quaalude. The movie went to four. It's like you go something, something, something. And remember when he's all delusional out of the Lamborghini, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
fourth
That was a
stage where
crazy
he's like,
scene.
you
That
get
was
sloppy.
DiCaprio did amazing in that scene.
There's a fifth stage after that. That was the fourth stage DiCaprio was showing. There's a stage after that where you like come back from the like slouchiness or all everything, and you fully amped and you're like wired like on Adderall, is what he said. So you go from this like incoherent slug to you're wired locked in. It's the fifth stage. And he's like, this is when you've done way too many quaaludes. And you can't stop moving. He's like, you just can't stop. You have to be doing something. And so they were on the boat, and they told the captain, just drive, like, or sail, go to Europe, sail. And the captain told him there's a giant storm. He literally looked at him and said, I don't care, sail. Like either you're going to sail and we're going to pay you, or we'll get someone else to do it. Either way, we're sailing. And so they just sailed into the middle of a storm.
Shit.
And it went south. They had to get rescued, but it was solely because they just couldn't sit still because they were on quaaludes and they wanted to sail, and they sailed right into a storm, man. I was shook. I'm like, wow, that's
an intense story, man. Like that movie, I saw that years ago when it first came out, and I remember that was the first time I'd seen Margot Robbie, and of course DiCaprio was incredible, and it was a great cast. I mean, Jonah Hill was in that, and the whole story, the plot line behind it was just insane. And I remember that Quaalude part where the Lamborghini and he's crawling.
Yeah,
it was just that was one of those parts of the movie you never forget. Like, yep.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that like that's how it was at the time too. Like that, like you could live a life like that. Like seeing that movie is honestly like what inspired me to want to be rich. I was like, dude, these guys do whatever they want whenever they want because they're rich and they're good at what they do. Like I want that. Like what? Like I was thinking about like, I don't know. That movie really is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It put into perspective like how working some trash 9 to 5 that you hate, going to college when you don't want to go, all of that doesn't matter because there's a way to make it and there's a way to to do what you want to do and get rich always.
Yep. There's a unique way for everybody, and it doesn't have to be just same path for every person. And
Yeah.
that's, I think it's a great, because again, I've even with my life chance, like I went to LA for a little bit. I kind of moved around. I did my thing.
Yeah.
So, and there's just no rhyme or reason to it, but I love what I just did what I wanted to do at the time.
I think subconsciously, like deep down, you going to LA helped me, honestly.
Really?
Because I think about it. Cause I remember I remember when I first went to just even growing up in high school, I remember you going out to LA. And you were also a journalist, like a reporter, or what was it? A writer,
comedy writer, writing, and wrote, blogs and all that stuff. Yep.
And that was just so I don't know anyone else that's a writer that moved to LA. Literally no one, like outside of everyone I've ever met growing up in Ohio, no one ever did anything like that. No one moved to California. Nobody was a writer. Well, even is a writer at that time. Like you had no idea. And I just thought that was so cool. I was like, he moved to like California, like. No, just literally no one does that. Like no one goes out of their comfort zone, tries to make things happen, even if it means it won't happen and you could fail. Everyone just went to college and got a 9-to-5 and got married. And that seemed horrible. And so, yeah,
dude, I was here and I was just like, you know what? I literally told myself like, it was my buddy. He's like, hey, you want to get into writing, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you got to move to LA. And I was like, so I'm thinking in my mind, like, I'm never going to do that. My first thought. And then as the months went on, I'm like, fuck it. Like, why would I not do that? Like, what's holding me back? So, and I was one of those guys who I always thought I'd be here for the rest of my life and never move, never really travel much. Like, this is like my, I never traveled out west much, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then going out there, chance changed my whole perspective. Now
everything changes.
Everything changes. So now I'm a different person. But I packed up my car and I drove cross country. And I didn't have, I had a job lined up, but it wasn't like the greatest job. My cousin was in Venice Beach at the time, so he's like, dude, come stay with me for a little bit.
Venice.
Like, all right. So Venice is a great, the beach is awesome. Yep. He was a block on Mildred Avenue, a block from the beach. So there's like a big Jim Morrison mural there, and it was awesome. But so I used to go there. Dude, walk that pier down to the Ferris wheel every freaking day.
Yeah,
dude, I love it.
The pier. Oh my god. Yeah, and I think that's just like you said, man. Like I remember my uncle told me, he's like, Chan, this is when I was 17. You had already been out there. I think you were still out there at this time. And I didn't know anything about what you're doing. I just knew he's a writer and he's out in California. And I thought that was pretty cool. And my uncle told me, he's like, no matter what you do, he's like, you need to get out of here at some point in your life. He's like, just leave. He's like, whether you join the army, whether you go away for school, whether you just move somewhere else, it's like, you need to leave Cleveland, Ohio. You need to get away from everyone you know, and you just need to go actually experience the world. My uncle's passed away now. But that still resonates with me all the time. And I'm so glad. That's like one of the best pieces of information I've ever been given in my life. And when he said that to me, I thought about how you moved. I thought about my cousin Brian joined the Air Force, went all across the world. And I just thought about key people that I knew in my life that actually did it. And I was like, they did it. Like I can do it. And so like truly are like, you truly did have an impact on my life that way. Even if it was like, you never would have thought like when you never thought like, oh yeah, Chance is gonna, like.
No, I would never have thought that. I didn't think anybody was even gave a shit. I was like, I just did it for me, but I didn't realize. Yeah. You don't realize the people you're impacting when you do something like that.
Yeah, dude, your whole family sees it and impacts it too. That's what a lot of people don't realize, that like everyone has the same ish thoughts and dreams. Everyone has those dreams, right? Nobody ever acts on them though, and so just you being the one in your family to be the first, like to act on it, it just like sets like, okay, like it kind of sets the tone.
It does.
It just shows that it's possible. Like it's not this outlandish thing. People can do it. People do it. Yeah.
And Chance, I think for anybody watching, me and you, we're just, these average dudes from Cleveland, like, but we had passions, we had dreams.
Yeah. So average.
Going after them. And it's just like, I'm not saying obviously we have talent. I'm not saying we're completely like two schmucks, but like but we're not like, it's not like we're, I'm not, some.
Yeah. We're not.
No, I'm not, Tim Ferriss or Joe Rogan or anything like that. So it's like, I'm just an average guy who just does what I like.
Well, yeah. We didn't come from, we don't have rich families. We're not studs. We're not like physical gifted gods,
exactly.
Like they're just normal dudes, bro.
Yeah, it's normal dudes. And that's why I would tell people watching, like you can do anything you want. If you put your mind to it, you have the right passion. Like you said, you do it the right way. And I think, it doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. And I think that's the biggest, when people see Chance Sutton, they think, oh, it just happened overnight. He got luck. They don't understand the work you put in behind the scenes, waking up at 7 a.m. They don't understand all that. It's not.
Yeah. A lot of people think like, oh yeah, like he made it because he had a famous friend, and it's like, or like he got it because his friend got it, and it's like, I mean, if you look at how my friend got it and then you look at how I got it, both are different. And yeah, I'm where I'm at because I had a friend doing what he was doing, but I didn't just have a friend doing what he was doing. I had to make a ton of decisions and choices that even enabled me the opportunity to piggyback off my friend.
Mhm.
And like I'm talking, we moved to Toronto to try making videos
I think I
because
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, because we thought, well, because we saw that Jake was having success in LA in a big city, and we were like, oh, we could never make it in this small town Ohio. Like he didn't make it in Ohio. Like he had to go to LA. Like we have to go to Toronto. And so we moved to Toronto. Then we moved back to Ohio because we couldn't afford Toronto and we didn't know what was going on. And you just have to make a ton of decisions and choices. But I think the biggest thing is just making those decisions. Like you have to move forward. No matter what, you just have to move forward. And how you said though, moving forward properly, like the right way is the key. A lot of people move forward, but they're not really moving forward. They're moving like sideways.
Exactly. Most people are. And they're too, you said the fear, Chance. The fear people had to do what you did takes a lot of balls to leave your comfort zone. I don't care if you have a famous friend or not. It takes balls to go out there and put yourself out there. You knew you're going to be ridiculed by certain people.
Oh, everyone I knew made fun of Jake. Every single person that I knew growing up in our high school, all the cities around, they all disliked Jake and dogged on it and made fun of it and said, yeah, he just makes videos, cringe videos. He's a loser. Like nobody, like he doesn't even like, he's not from here. We don't rep him. Like he's from here, but he's not from here. And I'm just like sitting there like, dude, you guys are such losers. Like, how are you guys going to hate? Like, if people just love to hate on anyone trying to do what they wish they could do. Like every person that says something about it, yeah, maybe it's not their passion to be social media famous and make YouTube videos. And so when I say what I just said, like, oh, you're just hating on him because you're jealous. I'm not saying that you're jealous. He's a social media star and makes these videos. Maybe that's, you hate that and you could not want to not do that anymore. Like you legitimately hate that world. You don't want anything to do with it. You're not jealous of that of him. You're jealous that he's doing what he wants to do. Like, and that's where the hate comes from. Cause everyone that's talking shit, they all have dreams. They all had an idea that they wish they could have done and wanted to do. They didn't do it and they won't do it because they just hate on everyone else's and everyone around them hates on everything. And it's like this, it's so insane. And you got to get away from your hometown, like to really see like, and it's your hometown that hates on you the most. It's so crazy. It's like the people that you knew are the ones that bring you down, like strangers. I'm sure you can relate to this 1,000,000%. When you came out to LA, the vibe of the people around you is just on a different level.
Yeah.
Everyone here wants to win and you're all strangers and everyone wants everyone else to win. It's like nobody's bringing anyone down around here. Everyone is here to be brought up.
And they don't know you, so you don't have to worry about like what your past reputation was, or not that
nothing.
I didn't have a bad reputation.
Yeah, but you don't.
Yeah, they peg you as a certain person. Like, oh,
yes, exactly.
So when you're out there, you're just Chance. Nobody knows. So
fresh
it's like
fresh slate, and everyone out here is trying to make it in whatever they're trying to do, right? With whatever it is, like they're out here to work hard. Like they're not
entrepreneurs everywhere.
Yeah, they're not from here. They're from somewhere else. They're here to make it with whatever they're doing. And when you're back home but when you're back in your hometown, like they're just there because they're there. They didn't go out of their way to be there. They were born there. They're just staying there. When you move away to a popular location like LA, New York, Miami, like people there are there for a reason. Mm-hmm. And that it's mentally like it's mind changing.
And I can totally relate to that. I remember first going to LA and like walking the beach, and then I lived in Culver City for a little bit, so I would just like there was a taco stand called Tito's Tacos, and I would walk down there to get lunch or dinner a lot because their tacos are freaking amazing. And I remember just looking around the people, and like I was just so different. And I sat next to like Mila Kunis at a Starbucks one time, and it's like random stuff like that. You would see random people. I got to meet Blake Griffin. I want see Kobe play, like I told you before. So it's like you have all these experiences, and just the vibe of the city was very. I mean, yeah, you have your people who are arrogant, your people who are stuck up, and all that. You have that, but you can have that in almost any city. But I thought the vibe was very entrepreneurial. Like there's a lot of entrepreneurs who want to go do their own thing.
And you don't have that like negative stigma, like with whatever you're doing. Like there's no negativity.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
It's people who want to go after what they want and they don't really care what anybody else. That's what I liked about it. And here it's like, I'm lucky to come from a town. I'm from Avon Lake. It's a lot of people supported me a lot in what I did, but I was very lucky in that respect. But I know a lot of people who left, not just, I'm not really talking Avon Lake, but people who left their hometowns wherever they were, who didn't get that support. And, the people were, critical and mean and all that. So I was,
Yeah, it's the people that you know, man. It's your home. Like I don't know what it is. There's like been scientific studies done on it, but the people that know you just they don't want to see you succeed because it seems like they're not. In a way, it's like you're outdoing them for some, and they like you've known this person for 10 years. You've gone to, you know who they are. Oh, I know him. He's this dickhead. How's he doing it? Like that, and that's what they thought. But really, you don't even know them. Like, yeah, you've known them for 10 years, but you truly don't know anything like about them or what they're thinking.
So true, Chance. It's so true.
Yeah.
They only know a fragment of who you really are. And
they only know what you show them too.
Exactly,
like they don't know what you're like at home. They don't know what you think about all the time, what you wanted. Like they have no idea. You could be working like how many hours you put in researching and just learning about podcasting and everything. Someone that's known you for 15 years doesn't know that you're doing that and they see you start podcasting. They could easily be like, oh, he's podcasting. Like what makes him think he could do it? Not knowing how much effort and time you really have put into it. And so it's just a lot of judgment and bias, I think.
Yep. No, you're right.
Yeah.
And I definitely, again, I've been lucky with my hometown not to experience that as much, but I know plenty of people, Chance, who left their hometowns and they got, same thing, like a lot of their friends and family.
The problem with us was we got popular as sophomores in high school, and the upperclassmen boys didn't like that. Like we had girls from other cities knowing who we were. And like, so then you have all the guys from other cities not liking that. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why we got so much negativity from our hometown, was just because the older guys in our grade didn't like that we were getting popularity / known. And then all the like we would our social media has branched out to like back in the day, like when Instagram first started, like if you had city 1, city 2, and city 3, everyone in city 1 that has Instagram doesn't really know city 3. So like people in city 1 don't follow each other from city 3. Like they're not intermixed like that. We kind of blew up. And so city 3 and city 2 knew who we were. And so like we would, and obviously we're guys in high school, we want girls. We would reach out to the girls in other cities and just make connections, even if it was just friendly connections. Like we would just make a ton of connections in other cities. And a lot of the guys didn't like that. It was really like an ego thing for sure. Like the guys from the girls' school and any of the older guys anywhere just didn't like that we were like in their territory, because they didn't know who we were. Oh, these guys have followed. Who are these guys? Like, and it was so weird. It was literally, that was the only problem. Like it was so weird. It was just because we were younger than them and we were guys that they didn't know. And so it was just an instantly like a negative effect that kind of took around. It was so weird, bro. Like so weird.
It's funny, that high school ego. Like I
that's what it was.
I remember those days.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
Because think about it. Think about some guy. You're a senior, a junior, a senior in high school. Some sophomore from some other city is talking to the girls in your school.
Yeah, and
you're like, what? Like, who is this? Like, yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're not with it.
It's all, yeah, you're like defending. Yeah, I get it. No,
yeah, and it became like defending against us. Like and then it became like the thing to like hate on us. It became like a thing. Once it becomes a thing, you're like, it's a thing now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No, and that's something that when because you became famous so young and well known just around here, and then of course worldwide fame, it's hard to like with all the people who hate and all that, but at the same time, Chance, I feel like by the when you're my age, you're going to be you already are well adjusted, but by the time you're my age, you're going to be so well adjusted because you're going to learn how to deal with certain aspects of it. You're going to you're going to know how to block out certain things. You probably already do. So that's the beauty of it, is that you're learning now. It won't be as bad as you get older, especially if it makes some, depending on what you do as you get older, you might be respected for a lot of things you do, Chance. Like the gaming you are, people love the gaming stuff you do. It's not just about hating on, but it's like, I feel like with you, who knows what you're going to get into in the next 10 or 15 years, and people might,
exactly. You're so right. You nailed it. Touching back on your question, I just want to be in the space. Whether that's, I think I want to, like building stuff, what I mean by that is not like creating my own app or anything, but, being on advisory boards and helping, stuff like that, building companies, working with brands. There's a lot of marketing. Like there's a huge window of like opening in the marketing space right now, with companies wanting to get more into social media, companies wanting to branch out. Like gaming's hot, like Ninja, the whole Fortnite thing a couple of years ago. Like that's really when gaming became like mainstream. And now everything's delayed though. Now like companies are still trying to get into that. And now they're like it started with the first of the couple of the big companies, but now it's every company understands that you need to be in the digital space for like optimum growth and success, right? And so there's just a lot of I think opportunity in that field, with whether it's planning, like helping, like planning stuff, like so many things, but just something in that field is my
Chance, I could see you doing. You'd be the perfect like consultant, someone to come along and help.
Dude,
yeah.
I have a couple of friends that do it. It's like, just because we know so much about it, like we just know that how, like what needs to be known, and
all
a lot of people
got to do is
don't.
look at your page and say, this guy has 1.7 million followers. This dude has been, doing this for 4 or 5 years now. This guy's been, he's been the spotlight. He's done this, he's done that. He games, just that alone will get you hired by somebody. They would see what you're all about.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it's not, I'm hoping to create my own with like a team and stuff, like a group of friends.
It's
like
funny,
maybe like a media agency type vibe. I don't know.
That's funny. I've actually thought the same thing myself. Like, because I'm, getting to know all these NBA players and doing things. And I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, yeah, I like kind of start something eventually where like a media, something like that, where it's, I don't know. I mean, because the potential, like you said, especially with the younger generations coming up, is huge. And companies,
wave one, man. We're in wave one.
That's
and
crazy.
That's what we said. That's what we said before we even blew up. I remember talking about it in Toronto. I had $50 to my name. I'm in Toronto with Anthony and our other buddy Leo, and we bought a bunch of shots with the last of our money. We bought like 10 shots with the last of our money. Like legit, we're down to $0. We're drunk and we're just walking around. We're about to take the subway home. And we're talking about like, man, like, do you think we're too late? Like, do you think like, bro, like they're already blowing up. Like everyone's trying to do this. Like, and then we started Googling around, and we like found some statistics and just like graphs, and it showed the amount of people on the internet now versus 10 years ago versus the projected 10 years from now, like 10 years ago now and 10 years from now. And the graph was like exponentially growing. And we were just realizing like, this is wave one. Like this is still a start. Like people like we've been saying it, but people really don't understand that like, this is just the beginning still. Like YouTube, just like the YouTube craze was like 4 years ago. The Twitch gaming thing happened like 2-3 years ago. Like those just happened. Like they haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like ESPN, it's like, yeah, sports have been around for how many years? Like these have been around for 4 or 5 years now. Like
that's true. That's a great point. Yeah. That's like, look at the NFL. I mean, the football has been around for how many years, but really in the last 10, 15, 20 years, it's blown up to the point where
and that was after 100 years of it being around.
Exactly. So it's like, and even the NBA before Jordan and Magic and those guys, like it was, people liked basketball, but they didn't really get into the NBA. Then Jordan came along and boom, the whole world got into
the whole world got into it.
So
exactly,
LeBron's taking it to a different level. So
so that Jordan effect just happened like a couple of years ago. So there's going to be more things. It's going to keep going. Like, yeah.
You're definitely on the right path, and that's for sure. And I have a couple more questions for you, Chance, and I have to bring it back to Cleveland, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So I know you're a Cleveland guy. Outside of LeBron, and I know LeBron's your guy. Outside of LeBron, who's your favorite Cleveland athlete of all time?
Ooh. That's tough.
Current or former?
Probably I would say man, I don't know. I really loved Kyrie, even though he like kind of turned into a baby. Like, and I kind of hated on with like the way he handled a lot of stuff and just his attitude. Just he brought so much, I feel like, with like just that it was like that. It was just that era of time for me, honestly. It was just like the golden era. Like
he hit the biggest shot in the history of the franchise, in the history of
we'll
never forget that. We'll never forget that.
Or Sizemore. Sizemore's a beast. Grady Sizemore for the Indians.
People forget how great Sizemore was. The
amount of grand slams that dude hit.
And he was he was one of the greatest all around players of that era. But he obviously had a lot of injuries, which derailed his career. But Chance, he was. I remember going to games back then. This would have been, you were probably what, like 10, 12
I
years
was
old.
young for size.
Yeah, you were
more.
young, and he was a hell of a player.
I just remember he would hit grand slams like it was nothing.
Oh yeah,
he was a
he could do shooter. Everything. Yeah,
yeah.
He was a legit. He would have been a superstar hadn't he got he got hurt so much it derailed his career, but he would have been a legit superstar, and he was that good of a player. So now, and last question, sports wise for Cleveland Browns next year. What do you see? Any predictions? I mean, who's your favorite player in the team? Like, what do you see happening?
I don't know. I think. See, I have a love-hate relationship with the Browns. I love them, but for like the last 18 years, they've made me cry every Sunday. So,
oh yeah.
I think, I don't know. I loved Baker. I wanted him when we picked Mayfield. I was so happy. I was the same with Manziel. And then last year, honestly, I hated Baker. I was like, dude, we have everything and this guy just can't do anything. But he really, I think, stepped it up towards the end of the season, mid-end of the season.
He did.
Into the playoffs. And I'm excited. Honestly, I mean, it's the first time that I can remember in my life that we've actually had something going for us Browns wise. And so I'm really excited. I can't wait for it. I think they play the Chargers in October in LA. I'm seeing if I could go to that game.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
See him out there. Oh yeah. And it's funny because the Browns, like you said, for years, 20 some years, they were just the laughing stock of the whole
so bad
sports world. Remember
that one year? Remember that one year we went undefeeted in the preseason?
Yeah, 4-0.
And then we didn't win a game. We were like 0-12. How does that happen?
Yeah, they actually sold shirts, preseason champions, and then we didn't win a damn game in the regular season.
Bro, we threw a parade because we won one game. Do you know how embarrassing that must have been for the players that we threw a parade for our one win?
For those of you not from Cleveland and anybody, it was horrible to be a Browns fan. It was just awful. So now like you said, this is the first time I can remember as well, my lifetime. I remember the old Browns, but in the new Brown generation, this is the first time chance in 25 years I can remember going into a season where I'm like, man, this is exciting. They actually have a legit team. This is not just
we can make a playoff run. Absolutely. Anything could happen.
They have legit superstars all over the place, like Nick Chubb, and we got Myles Garrett and Landry, all these guys. It's this is a legit squad. So yeah, it's fun. It's got to be fun for you guys too. Obviously, repping Cleveland out in LA, and you guys to finally have a football team you can actually you put on a jersey and not be made fun of. So I remember I used to go to Browns backers bars in LA, and this is when they were just horrible. And packed with Clevelanders, like 7.
Oh yeah, the amount of people you find in LA from Ohio is
oh my God,
more than anyone else,
man.
It's more than any other state.
Chance, I saw Ohio State jerseys, LeBron jerseys. I saw tribe hats. I would see Brown. I was
crazy
everywhere. I was like, wow, I could not believe that. Yeah.
I guess everyone wants to get out of Ohio.
I guess. I don't know what it is, man. It's I would tell people out there, I'm like, my one buddy had a running joke. He was a Steelers fan. And he's like, he would talk about all the Browns fans he would see. He's like, God, you guys are like a spreading disease. You're everywhere.
Yeah, disease.
He's like, this is terrible too. Everywhere you would see these Browns jerseys and tribe hats. And he's like, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't know. I guess there's a lot of Clevelanders everywhere, but Ohio people love repping their stuff. It's just how they are. They're very private.
Yeah.
So
very.
Okay, Chan. So I asked this question to everybody, and this is the last question I'll ask you. And I love hearing the answer. When you look back, you're 40, 50 years from now, you're on a beach, you're retired, you're sitting there with your grandkids. What do you want the legacy of Chance Sutton to be?
That's a good question. I want the legacy to be that my grandkids are 14, 15. I think about when I was a teenager, we talk about some of our friends' dads, oh yeah, he's a beast. He did this, or oh dude, Tony's grandpa was a Marine in Nam. You talk about stories of the older men that of. I think I want my grandkids and their friends when they talk to talk about me as someone who just never, man, this is tough. Someone who found a way always, no matter what, he found a way to thrive in what he was doing. I also want to give back a lot, but I want to just be known as my grandpa will do it. He can get it done. If there's something that needs to get done, my grandpa he's the guy that will do it. You need a guy, he's the guy. I just want to be the guy that was able to do it and continue to do it and help others do it all the time. because I think that's like one of my favorite things is how we've talked about it too, is explaining to people the process of blowing up and how you could do it. Like especially people that are trying to do it, and I can see they clearly have the passion, but they just don't understand. When I like talk to them and I explain how they could do it and what it takes to do it, like the light that they have in their eyes from me giving them this insight is just so like, it's like someone just taught them how to do it. Like they're like shook. They're so happy. And I love that feeling. So I think being at the top of whatever I'm doing, and not only being at the top, but helping others reach the top as well, is like what I want to be known as. Like, yeah, like he does it the best, and he helps everyone else do it the best. Like everyone around you thrives. It's not just you thriving. Like you bring everyone up with you. And I feel like the people that do that, like it's noticeable. Like, those kinds of people, like you can think of those kinds of people. And I just want to be that guy. I don't know.
I love it.
I feel like, yeah.
The people that bring other people up and light up a room, and you kind of, that they're going to help you. If they're around, they're the kind of person that's going to uplift you or help you.
Yeah.
I think, we need more of those types of people. So I think that would be a hell of a legacy, and you're on your way right now, man. You're well on your way, to being that guy. But I love hearing that answer, because everyone has a different answer for that.
Yeah, I bet.
Fascinating. And okay, I can't leave us now. I can't leave without talking about Thad real quick. Favorite Thad Carino story of all time?
Thad Carino. Thad's my dad. Favorites. That's tough. Wow, that's actually so tough. These are good questions. This guy's a professional. I would. Okay, I think I'll never forget. Just one of those moments where it's just like, I'm gonna do it to my kid. The first time we ever went to Myrtle Beach, it's the first time I've ever been to the ocean. Maybe I had been when I was younger and went to Florida or something, but I don't remember. This is the first time I ever remember being at the beach and seeing the ocean. We like jumped in in the water, just got in the water, and he's like ankle deep in the water. And he's like, you guys, me and my friend Danny, my child, we're 6 years old at the time. Childhood friend went on vacation with me. And he's like, you guys, come here. And we run over to him. And he's like, try this. I want you to try this. He's like, stick your finger out. And we're like, okay. He's like, dip it in the water. We dip it in the water. He's like, lick your finger. We did it. And it was just the salt water. We didn't know what salt water was. And he got us to do it. And we spit our mouths out. And he was crying hysterically. It's just one of those things that you could never, you can only get that on a young kid. That's going to be the only time that ever happens to him in his life. Because they just don't know. It's like you're teaching them for the very first time ever that this is salt water. And I don't know. I think of that moment, and I just think about being a father and getting to do all those kinds of moments with your kid that they don't know, and you get to be the one to show them for the first time ever.
Exactly.
You were teaching them.
Yeah. For those of you listening, Thad, who's Chance's dad, he is the greatest teacher. He's literally a professor. But he is the greatest. I could listen to Thad tell stories for hours, because he just has this way about him where he could tell you he just has a unique way of putting things, and he's very articulate. And
very articulate.
Yeah, he's just an awesome dude, and really is one of the most genuine guys I've ever met. And there's no agendas with Thad. He's just very genuine and just an awesome dude. You really do have you have awesome parents. You really do.
Yeah, he's so good with kids too. Not just his kids. I'm talking. I remember the whole neighborhood we'd always be at my house. It was just kind of the house to be at, and literally neighbors' parents are go hang out with, go over there. The neighbors' parents would trust that with their kids. And this is a random stranger that lives on the street as you. And they had full trust, because they could just tell he's a genuine, he's just so good. Just so lighthearted and funny.
Exactly. That's a great way to describe him.
I don't think I've ever seen a male, any ego thing with him ever in my life.
That's
which is crazy.
Point. That's a great point. Yeah.
You see that from every guy, you can think of a moment where they their ego, their ego checked. I can think of every friend I know, every guy, they all have that. I've never seen him step out of line like that or lose it.
I never thought of that's a great point, Chance. He doesn't really have this is not his thing. He's just very modest and genuine. And, and as you know, my dad, you met him multiple times.
Yeah.
My dad's Mr. Loud. He's going to tell you what he thinks. He's Mr. So him and Thad always joke.
They're brothers. They're brothers for you guys that don't know.
Yeah. So And Chance don't like that real well. Like he's just he's boisterous, and so you would never think they're brothers, personality wise. And Thad always jokes like we even share the same DNA because like we're so different in so many ways.
Yeah.
And they're both great guys, but they're just so different. So yeah, Thad is just he really is. I mean, one of the greatest teachers. I mean, even for me as my uncle, he was a great teacher to me growing up because he kind of showed me a lot of things and just he was always there for me as a kid. And I know, of course, that he was there for you as a kid. So it's like we both shared that, in common with Thad, that I love Thad to death. And he's just one of my favorite people in the world.
I feel like he had a really big impact on the way I think about stuff.
Me too.
He always like the way he thinks, he just actually thinks, like he's very, very articulate and just smart. It's just so smart. Like, and he teaches psychology in college. So like he's got, he definitely knows some of his stuff.
Oh yeah.
But man, when I would, he was so nice. Whenever I would really mess up and he would yell, like when he would yell and swear, very rare occasion, but like, dude, when he would yell and swear, it was like the world stopped, bro. Like the world, like, cause when my mom would yell all the time. When she would yell, it's like, oh my God, she's yelling at me again. When he would yell and swear, it's just like, you would be shook because it never happened. And you'd be like, dude, I really messed up. Like, oh God. Like,
oh yeah.
I would just be like, please stop. I'm sorry. Like, please.
Yeah,
you're just scared. You get
like that. Yeah. There's something
you messed up.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. He was just, again, Thad's just an awesome dude. And I wanted to talk about him real quick at the end because I know he'll be listening to this and he'll get a kick out of this, but yeah, that one's for you, man. We both have plenty of Thad stories we could share.
So many,
but some I won't share on here, but he's just like the jokes we have in common and he has a great sense of humor and he's just again, an awesome dude. So,
yeah. And I think reading, another thing. So I feel like he put an emphasis on reading too. And I feel like that's so key for kids. Like, so I was like a reading head, like a complete read addict or whatever, book addict as a kid. And I feel like kids don't do that ever, especially nowadays. Like kids don't read books like that.
No,
adults don't even, I feel like adults have slowed down too. Like, and I feel like that's such a huge part just for your brain. Like the amount of words that I had and like sentences I had access to that I would have like where outside of those books that you're reading, those stories and how are you going to hear that? Like, how are you going to hear and see all those words and sentences and way to say things? Like you're just like, you read a book like about like old time, like English, old century or whatever, like, and it's a whole story like that. You're never going to hear those types of words and phrases ever in real conversation, real life. And so it just broadens your mind, I feel like, to a lot of stuff.
You're right. And there's plenty of research on reading that shows what it does with your brain. And I mean, it's just, I haven't done it as much recently, but I try to read. I would, at one point I was reading, 20 pages a day or whatever book I was reading. Now I got to start doing that again.
I got to get back on that as well.
Yeah. I've jumped off the wagon for a second, but no, it is. And it's just relaxing. Like to get off the phone, to get off the computer, just to sit there with it's like, I love that. Mm-hmm. So what about your favorite mom story for Jackie?
My favorite mom story. I think one of them that's really funny. I don't know if this is my favorite. This is a really good one. I totaled her car.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, I was going 52 miles per hour in reverse.
I do remember this actually. Yeah.
Did a 180 into the only brick mailbox and totaled the car.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't tell. No one knew that I was, the front of the car is what crashed because we did a 180. So I was able to hide the fact that I was going 52 miles per hour in reverse because the front of the car got hit. And so I said that I was driving down the street. My phone fell in the crack of the seat with one hand on the steering wheel. I looked to grab I didn't look, I just glanced to grab my phone. And as I glanced, a deer ran out right in front of me. So I panicked, slammed on the brakes and swerved to the left to not hit the deer.
Good story.
I had to come up with it on the spot.
That's not bad for on the spot. Yeah.
On the spot. Like I'm looking at a totaled car. Like people came out of their homes because it was so loud. I have adults staring at me now. And I'm just like a 16-year-old kid who just got his license a week ago, totaled his mom's car. Like I'm like the statistic, dude. Like I'm like the walking male statistic of like dumb is what she told me that night. But she gets there, whatever. I have my cousin Jackson. I'm with my cousin Jackson. We're 2 blocks away from my house. I'm like, dude, you got to go get my mom. I text her. I'm like, Mom, I need help. I don't even know what to say. I'm shitting myself, but I have to say something because I know like some police might come. Like, this is bad. The car's totaled. So I had my cousin Jackson go run and get her, and she like started walking, and she gets there. She just doesn't even say a word to me. She doesn't ask what happened. She doesn't say a word. She just handles the whole thing with all the adults. The police end up getting called. She handles everything, and we start walking home. And I'm not saying a word, dude. Like, I'm shitting myself. Like, I just crashed my mom's car. Like, this is really bad. She's not saying a word either. And she just looks at me and she's like, you know what? She's like, I've been thinking about this, and we're almost home. This is like a 10-minute walk. She's like, I'm not even going to ask you what happened because I know what you said isn't what happened. And I know if you tell me what happened, it's going to be the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard. So I just can't even ask you. I'm not going to ask you what happened. I don't want to know. And I just was like, I just thought that was I was like, yo, thank God. Like, thank God. And because she just knew, that's not how I crashed. She knew that was just too big of a mistake for me to make. Like, there's no way you total a car because a deer ran out. Like, she knew I was lying. Like, she just could tell I was lying. But she just knew the real answer was so bad that she couldn't ask me. And I was like, thank God. Like, I would have been grounded. Like, I don't even know what I would have said if she asked me what really happened. Because I couldn't, how am I going to tell my mom I was going 52 miles per hour in reverse in your car? You can't tell your mom that. No. But she knows you're lying. So the whole time I'm shitting myself. I'm like, what am I going to tell her? Like, what do I say? Like, what do I say? And I'm just like, I'm about to cry in the inside. Like, oh my God. And she's hit me with that. And I just was like shook. I was like, she knows her son's an idiot.
Oh my God. I could just picture your mom saying that, dude. That's the funniest part about it. I could just see the whole thing. Like, you're walking down and that's, oh my God. That's great. That's a great story. So Chance, dude, it's been great, man, talking to you. And, me and you, we go back, I've known you since the day you were born. So I've known you for quite a while. And
I remember my biggest memories are from like a little kid seeing you. I feel like,
oh yeah,
you were always just like the older, like, family member. Exactly. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. I was always a dude. Like, I mean, it's funny because you would, in the summer, I saw you a lot. You would come over for 4th of July every now and then. Thad, I would see you and Thad hanging out. And it's just so cool to see where you progressed, and I remember keeping up with like your, basketball career a little bit and some of the things you did as you grew up, but to see where you come now and everything you've accomplished in your life to this point, you're still young, dude. You're not even, I mean, you're 25, like you're young as hell. Like so
I feel like I'm getting old though.
And trust me, at that age you're not. I'm 37 and I have people who are like 55, 60. You're like, dude, you're still young. You're young. Yeah. So it's like, trust me, you have tons of years ahead of you. And it's going to be fun to see what you do. And, me and you, obviously, it's cool because we're kind of on similar paths in some ways where we're doing similar. Yeah. It's fun to like watch what you're doing. And you're a role model to me, man. I mean, you're someone that inspires me. So
I appreciate that, man.
Truly, Chance. Like since you blew up and see what you've been doing, like it gives me the motivation to keep doing what I'm doing.
Crazy how that goes around because like, I'm telling you, when I like first moved out to LA, I really did think about how you did it. And I was like, he fucking did it. Like he did it. What?
Why can't you?
Well, why can't I? Yeah. Yep. Like so it's crazy how that works.
I know Thad's even mentioned that to me before about me and you. It's like weird that you two both moved out to LA. It's what are the odds of that? Like both of you, especially for a family that never really moved anywhere,
Never. No one in the family, like no one in either of our families ever did that.
No. So it was really, but it's really cool. And again, dude, it's been awesome talking to you, and we can talk for 10 hours. So,
dude, yeah, we could keep going
for real, man. I could keep. Dude, I really appreciate you coming out and doing this, Chance, and it's been freaking awesome. And
you've been crushing. Like this is amazing. That the Vintage Ballers is such a good idea. You're doing it so well. I really like when I messaged you that day and I really saw everything that was done. I was truly impressed. Like I remember telling Anthony and Nick, like, this is dope. Like, this is so like, oh my God. I went off about it. Like we talked about it for like, it ended up being an hour-long conversation between all of us because we just talk about how so many people have dreams and stuff they talk about wanting to do. They want to do it. They never do it. And you're someone who is actually doing it. And that's so rare, I feel like.
Well, I'm talking to someone who's doing the same thing. I mean, look, so that's what's so cool about it is that you understand the spot I'm in and I understand the spot you're in. It's a very unique spot and you just do it. You're doing it at a whole different level. So it's just, dude, it's fun watching, man.
Yeah. You're crushing, bro.
Well, I appreciate that. And, same thing with you. And again, Chance, like we got to do this again. And it's been a blast, man. So
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me on too.
Absolutely,
Hope,
dude.
hope all your sports heads are cool with,
Oh no, they will. There'll be a ton of people viewing this. Trust me. So yeah, there'll be a lot of viewers, but no, I really appreciate it, Chance. And we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
You too.
Later.
Later.